And we are live.
Testing, testing. Is this thing on? Are we actually live, or did Mav lie to me? Don't you lie to me, Mav. Welcome everybody to another Thursday evening. That's right, we are back. PM in the PM Pong and Mav in the PM. Supposed to be getting some big thunderstorms. I sent Mav a shot earlier, letting them know. Sent him even a screenshot of the warnings, but looks like it's staying south. So it looks like I don't have to worry about a 3-bit power failure tonight, which I was actually worried about. They were talking about tennis ball size hail and shit. So I was like, yo, we might be having problems, but looks like it is staying south. So we should have a pretty damn good show tonight. We got a lot to get into, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hope you've all had a fantastic week. And I hope everything's going good for each and every single one of you. I hope life's treating you well, even outside of gaming. So thank you all for being here with us. We've got some topics this week. There's a lot of topics. Heck, if Mav and I really wanted to, we could continue to talk about the PS5 Pro because that conversation still has not stopped. It is getting ridiculous out here. But we're not going to talk about that. There's a couple of things that touch on the PS5 Pro that we might get into, but we are not going to talk that nonsense. I am done listening to these people fight over it now. It's just PCMRs versus PlayStation dudes, but so it's getting hilarious. But hey, everybody. A little company called Nintendo decided to show up and remind everybody that they're pieces of shit too. So if you're going to complain on Xbox and PlayStation, you better complain on Nintendo. But of course, the Nintendo drones are already out in defense mode, as all fanboys are, of every type of plastic box or company that people love. But Nintendo did show they're pieces of shit too. Welcome, Nintendo. Thanks for reminding everybody yet again who you really are. Oh, that's right. A billion-dollar corporation. So just because you're all cute and you got Mario and you got Zelda and everybody just loves you, you're not that nice. Okay. So we're going to get into that for sure a little bit too. But let's get to my co-host, the man who gives me the chair every Thursday night, the man who is the CEO of the Fun Speculation Network, this amazing place where we just celebrated 200 episodes of Xbox Ultimate. We are already at 131 episodes of PM in the PM with tonight's, which is absolutely insane. This guy right here, he's been doing some more gaming lately. He's picked up some games, and I can't wait to hear about him. So the one and only Fun Speculation, a.k.a. Mav. What's going on, brother? How the hell's your week been, man?
Oh, I've been busy, man. I've been good. I did pick up, speaking of, RoboCop, Rogue City. It was on sale for half off, and it was one of those that I've been kind of eyeing back and forth, every time there's a sale, because I remember last year, despite, not being from the biggest publisher or being from like a super highly anticipated AAA title, and some reviews were kind of just, it was whatever and stuff, but like overall it still got some positive reviews, and everybody that I talked to that I kind of trust their opinion on that played it was like, yeah, this is a great game, so it's been one that I kept my eye on, and this time I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna finally bite the bullet on RoboCop. And man, yeah, I streamed it yesterday. I kind of, I think it was like 2 hours or so I played yesterday on stream, and I was having a blast, dude. Like it is just pure RoboCop, dude, in the best ways possible. Yep. Gameplay's fun. It's not too over the top, it's not like too hard or anything like that, but like it's kind of just there for the story, and you kind of feel like a badass, which is what you should feel like being RoboCop, right? And the thing I didn't really expect was how good like this little storylines are for like these like optional side missions you can go on and stuff like that. Like you can just kind of walk around the city and find missions to do that happen organically, like kind of pop up. Nice. And they have full-fledged storylines, like with fully amazing detailed environments and all this stuff. And that I was like, wow, man, this game actually is a lot better. Like it's not perfect. Character models, some of the voice acting, and some of that kind of stuff like is kind of whatever.
RoboCop.
Right.
Yeah.
But like overall, like the just the attention to detail in the world and the environment and the stories and stuff are just absolutely awesome. So I was having a blast with that. Still been kind of kicking around my like regular rotation of a bunch of random games between Age and NBA and Madden and Space Marine 2 and Command and Conquer. Even like there's just a bunch of things that I just kind of keep grazing, I guess you could say. And yeah, I'm enjoying it, man. I'm just enjoying all these games. And you know what? I gotta say I did take advantage of last week the PlayStation Publisher sale.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because they had a couple of Days Gone.
Did you?
Yeah, it was like $10 or something, right?
Yep. It's always on sale. It's freaking amazing. It's in my list to get at some point.
Yeah,
for sure. Yep.
And then also the one that I have never enjoyed, but I kind of always try and tell myself I need to figure out a way to love this game and to find my love for it and appreciate it. And that was Horizon Zero Dawn. It was also ridiculously cheap. I know. It's just like sometimes when something is loved by so many people and you feel like you miss out, like I feel like I gotta figure it out. But then some interesting news came out about that this week.
Both of them. Yeah, and you're not going to have an upgrade path. So, yeah, we will talk.
So it was interesting. You're
not going to need it anyway. It's going to looks fantastic on PC.
Yeah, but it was crazy though. Still seeing that, like, sure, I don't. Steam publisher sale for PlayStation, right? It's just crazy. It's just crazy even just seeing that. Like they have enough there now to have a whole publisher sale.
Yep. Changes are coming.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, it is cool to see that. And obviously it is weird because just last generation, you never would have thought you would have seen that ever.
Yep.
That would even be a thing. And now it's more and more. God of War Ragnarok just launched today and they didn't even advertise that.
Yeah.
Like nobody even realized that it's out. It's got like, I think it's got like, did it hit 20,000? I think it hit like 20-some thousand concurrent on Steam. So it definitely sold. But they just didn't advertise it either. It's not like they're promoting it, which is fucking weird, but okay. Whatever. I mean, if you guys are going to give this a go, give it a go. I hate this toe dip.
They dip their toes a lot.
Bro,
and it gets them into trouble with some things. Concord, things like that.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they just fully dove into something.
Yeah, it would be. It would be great.
Gaming subscription, dip their toe in
real.
that.
Yeah.
They finally have a good day and date game again.
What, Plucky Squire?
Yeah.
Plucky Squire, yeah, they got lucky with an indie. They did actually finally grab an indie, but they pull their own games from that service, which is the weirdest thing ever, too.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's weird that PC has these games hitting before their own service.
It is very strange, sir.
Yeah.
But it's Sony. And this isn't my Sony. So this is a new Sony that's really strange and lost in a lot of ways and still doing really well in a lot of ways. So this puts them in a very odd light when you try to look at them and what they're trying to do, because a lot of it does not make any sense whatsoever. And yet they just keep selling because they're popular and they keep just doing things like out of the blue that just don't make any sense. And we're going to talk about it because again, we got a word of one remaster and then there's word of a whole nother remaster and it doesn't make any sense. And that's why we titled it what we did tonight. Remaster the roadmap, because we still don't know what new games they have. And we're going to talk about that too, because somebody pretty cool on Twitter kind of put together the whole list of some of the stuff that we kind of know about from Sony.
Mm-hmm.
We've done this for Xbox in the past, Mav, and I thought it'd be kind of cool just to run it down again for people who don't know. It's not official, right? But we were kind of in that spot sometimes with Xbox too, where people were like, Xbox got no games. There's nothing coming out. First party devs aren't doing shit. You guys got nothing. And Mav and I would have to run through, and the crews would have to run through the entire list of everything we knew that was in the works, right? And it was just this grand list, and now we're finally starting to see it happen. But somebody did make quite a good list of what Sony has in the works, at least that has been rumored or has been confirmed or whatever the case may be. So we're going to run through that too as well. I don't know, Mav. kind of boring. Tomorrow Frostpunk 2 comes out. So I don't know when
Yeah,
it drops into PC Game Pass, but I'm going to be all over it.
I got it pre-installed also, as well as
Cool.
I got Aura set to pre-install
too.
on
And
Xbox
that's
for
next
next week. Yep.
Bro, strategy games galore. Okay,
Mhm.
this is going to be strategy talk from here on out for a long time here. I still have not been able to jump into Space Marine 2. Shout out to Steele. I owe him an apology. I said I thought for sure this week because my schedule this week with everything going on in the house, it's all messed up. But I thought for sure I was going to have some time to jump in PvP with him this week. So I was like, dude, let's jump in some PvP. I want to really try it out. Haven't been able to connect on that. But it's going to be strategy like from here on out. This is nuts time because I'm still playing Age of Mythology Retold right now and having absolute blast. I'm playing through the campaign and then doing, a skirmish or vice versa. At least one each night. I did a couple campaigns, campaign chapters last night. There's actually 3 campaigns in this game, which is crazy. And this one actually challenged me, Mav. I had to restart a campaign mission for the first time last night on Age of Mythology Retold. So that was the first time I've had to do it. But that one, because of how it's set up so that you have two separate bases. So you're controlling 2 separate sides. And when you first start out, there's no connecting point. Now you can make connecting points in different ways, but you're controlling 2 sides at the same time, and each side has different resources. So you have to strategize each side, and you have to get to one point to attack the enemy base, Mav, and there's 2 branching paths.
Yeah.
And all along the way is enemies. Well, they attack you on a regular basis on both sides. They will come down alternating sides, and you have to have an army prepared on each side in order to defend.
So which mission is this?
This is the mission 9, I think, in the first campaign. 8 or 9 in the first campaign.
It sounds like the one that I've been stuck on.
Bro, it's the heck is it? I can't remember the name of it now. God dang it. I can't remember the name. I can't. But yeah, you would know it because again, one side is tree heavy, right? And then you have the temple on one side already pre-built, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have your village there, right? So you got all that normal stuff there. You got a couple towers, but that's your tree side. The other side has food, has berry bushes. It has gold on the other side, and then you have a town, but no temple over on that side. So you're not building mythic creatures on this side unless you actually build a temple on this side. So, and then, like I said, they want you to make a 2-pronged attack all the way through to the enemy's base, but you have to do it in layers. There's no way you get a big enough army and connect the 2 to run through one side, because while you run through one side, they can attack from the other side and wipe out one of your entire places, right? So you have to prepare and you have to build up over time.
Mm-hmm.
It took me, so I had to restart. Once I figured out the process, then I restarted, and it still took me 53 minutes to beat that mission. So it took me a while to build up and get through all their defenses, and get enough army together at the end to be able to take down their couple bases. So difficult, but having an absolute freaking blast. Age of Mythology Retold is so well done. So having a blast with that and still rocking out Inquisitor, Warhammer 40K Inquisitor Martyr, with all the expansions. I'm back into it again. Again, it just fills that Diablo role for me nicely until Diablo's obviously story expansion comes out.
Yeah.
The Vessel of Hatred. I'll be back in Diablo at that point. But for right now, since I'm in a Warhammer mood, it's just so freaking awesome. I'm just having a great time with some Inquisitor. But like I said, tomorrow starts Frostpunk 2. So I don't know what time it launches on PC. Do you know what time it launches, Matt, by chance?
No idea. I just have it set to install, or it's already. I think Frostpunk already is installed all the way, and then Aura is only like a fraction of it or whatever.
A partial pre-download. Yeah. Shout out to Frostpunk. Shout out to 11-Bit Studios, who made Frostpunk. The reviews for Frostpunk 2, it's sitting, I think, at 85 right now overall. Immaculate. They didn't play it safe, Mav, is what I'm reading from the reviews, because I went back and started replaying the first one, right, just to get kind of back into it again. Forgot how brutal that game is. I knew it was brutal, but you forget when you play other strategy games like Age for a while, and you don't get the brutality that's actually in a Frostpunk and the decisions you have to make and actually what happens in that game. But for reading all through all the reviews, they didn't play it safe at all. They could have just done number 2
Yeah.
in a similar fashion as number 1. They went big. They took what Frostpunk 1 was, and they like tripled the size of the game from Frostpunk 1. And everybody said it's lost some of the intimate brutality of like you being in charge of this one colony, right? They've expanded that out, but they said everything about it is so much better. Even when you're taking a bigger view of things, they said the political intrigue, all the decisions now are bigger than they ever were before because you're dealing with a much expanded type of universe in Frostpunk 2. And all the reviewers, almost hands down the ones that I all read, were fans of the first Frostpunk, and they all came away saying, we weren't sure when we started seeing some of the changes that they decided to do, but by the end of it, completely sold. This is just Frostpunk, but so much better than even the first one, which we loved. So when I see reviewers who actually loved the first game and actually played the first game a lot, coming out and saying that gives me a lot of faith that I'm about to get into something special. And then, Matt, I've been reading about Aura 2. Mm-hmm. And there's been some more Aura. There's been some more gameplay. There's been people, actually, some strategy guys that are known on YouTube were allowed to play the game alive, answer questions and stuff. So I was watching some of their stuff. I also saw some more interviews with some breakdowns on what Aura is shaping up to be. It's got the chance, man. It's got the chance to go up against Civ. It's got the chance of making a mark in the PC world. Which is very tough to do as a strategy game. I'm not guaranteeing it because there is no guarantees on that side of the world, especially in that genre. It is very hard to break through with a new IP in that genre. Lots of new IP do good, and they get known by a small group of people because, again, it's a niche genre, but very few new IP in that genre break through to the mass markets in any way, shape, or form, where a lot of people talk about it. Ours got a chance. It is really trying to change how that strategy, the 4X strategy, is played. It is trying to definitely bring it up and modernize it, and not in the bad way. Not when we talk about, for the modern audience. We're talking about actually thinking outside the box about what could be done. At the same time turn that they're doing now, instead of doing round robin turn based, and it's all at the same time movement, really could change how 4X strategy is played.
Yeah.
It really could have a big impact. So
it looks beautiful too. Like they have some like they have some technology that is like they had, I think it was like AMD or something that they had worked with to develop some kind of technology specifically for like these kind of games and stuff to like allow them to have more detail for the scope of the world and all that kind of stuff. And if you read on their Wikipedia about the studio and stuff, you can find information about this. And it was one of the reasons I thought that maybe that's the studio that Xbox is actually already acquired without announcing, or that we may have interest in acquiring and stuff, because they are doing a lot of strategy games and they have a PC focus as well, right? So just with their unique kind of skill set and very technical savvy studio, I think they're gonna create something here that's gonna kind of push that genre forward. And what they're making is something that's more interesting to me because it's kind of blending different genres together. So it's not just doing kind of one aspect really well. They're kind of taking different types of strategy games and kind of blending them into one massive strategy game, and it's going to be gorgeous and kind of the setting that I like also. So all of that combined, man, I think it's shaping up to be something that's really damn cool. So and eventually I think it'll hit console. I don't know when. It just seems like that's
next year again, I think.
Yeah, that's Microsoft's and what they want to do, and I think they'll do a good job getting it running on console as well. So I'd like to see that. Being that this is their first time making this kind of game and the scope and all that kind of stuff, I'll give them a pass on not hitting console day and date. unlike Age originally, when it was Age 2 and 4 definitive, 4 came out and Age 2 definitive edition, I was like, you gotta hit console day and date on those. But like with this, I'll give him a pass on it. You know, Frostpunk 2 as well is not hitting from those developers, hitting
They also
console day and
confirmed next
date.
year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's, I don't know if that'll probably be hitting console Game Pass as well,
Mhm.
or not console
It's part
game,
of the
but
deal.
Game Pass Ultimate or whatever
Yeah.
for day and date whenever it comes out on console as well. But as you know, the interesting thing about a game like Frostpunk 2 is hitting Game Pass day and date, right? And being received very well and has great reviews is nobody still really talks about it. There's actually more people talk about Plucky Squire, you know.
Which shout out to Plucky Squire
Yeah,
too. Got
yeah,
great
it's
reviews
fine.
too. But we've had a hell of a launch window here.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing against that game, but it's just so weird that certain genres just never get talked about. Can be well received, highly regarded in the community that loves it and stuff, but because it doesn't fit that like mentality for console wars or whatever. And I know obviously this time Prospect 2 is hitting on PC first and stuff, but it's still day and date in the service, and it's also going to be there when it hits console as well. So shout out to them for making those deals, giving us some more value. I love it. Shout out to PlayStation gamers for finally getting a good day and date game to their service.
Yeah. Make sure you guys buy it though. You guys can't use it on your service because that's not
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not supporting the devs. We don't do that here. Yeah, no, I just like you said, man. You, me, and some people really push that genre, the strategy genre, RTS genres. Really is just been absolutely amazing the amount of games we've gotten, both on console and now, obviously now that you and I both have PCs that are capable and we're able to play some of those games that aren't even available on console, but they really have. It's crazy for such a small genre how many games come out. They must be extremely budget friendly for developers to make because there's just no shortage of them. Again, just look at the list of indies being made right now in whether it's a turn-based tactical strategy game, whether it's a 4X strategy game, whether it's grand strategy, whether it's RTS. Go look at the list. There are brand new games coming out all the freaking time. And now obviously not all of them are great. But I just found one today, Mav, I was going to actually send to you called what the heck is it called? Hold on. I got to look this up. I meant to tell you before we got on the show, but since I got you here anyways, what is it? What the heck is it called here? It's called, let me see if I can find it. I know I should be able to search for it in my wish list. 9-bit Armies. A bit too far. Armies? Yeah, look at this game, bro. It's voxels, but it's an RTS, and it's set up like Command and Conquer.
What?
And it looks legit.
Is it out now or?
Yes. It came out August 26th. It just came out on Steam from Petroglyph, who knows how to make RTSs.
Oh wow!
But look at how dope it looks, dude. There's some dude playing it live, and it looks freaking. They got mass amounts of armies.
Is there base building?
Yes, it's base building. It's just set up just like Command and Conquer. I was watching them set up just like Command and Conquer.
Wow.
But it looks cool.
Oh yeah, the water. I see the little gameplay clip down below. The water actually looks pretty good.
Yep.
For like this weird
I know. Voxel looking game, but it looks
wow.
Dope. They got weapons galore, bro. They got airplanes. They got you name it, they got it, man. And mass amounts of armies. So
$20. Yeah.
$20. Yeah.
I'll be getting that.
Yeah, I totally meant to tell you before the show, but that just reminded me. But yeah, it looks freaking fantastic, man. But yeah, it's just amazing how many people are actually producing games in the strategy genre for a genre, like you said, that just doesn't get a whole lot of respect. Mainstream wise, nobody talks about a lot of the games unless it is like Civ, or Age obviously does get a lot. But it is nuts how many games are out there and how many we're getting still. So can't wait, man. But yeah, otherwise it's been a pretty boring week for me. As far as gaming goes, again, like I said, after Steele and I spent 17 hours on Space Marine 2, beating the hell out of that game, man. Whoo-wee! That was fun as hell. So, other than that, that's been about it. So, let me get to this. Let me get to the chat. Do we have any super chats you got to catch up on?
Yeah, we do actually. We got two things here. First off, member for 39 long months, 3-bit. It says choo choo. Well, choo choo to you, my friend. Hope you're feeling better. He got the travel bug when he got home from Paris. So hopefully you're feeling better, dude. But we miss you and can't wait to see you back on some of the shows and get to talk to you again. I see lots of trains in his with his emojis. He's running all those trains.
He's running trains.
Running all those trains in those with those emojis. Shout out to 3-Bit. Then we got Alvin with a $5 super chat. Says Otani 6 for 6, 3 hour, 10 RBIs. 3 home runs, 3 hours. Fuck, I didn't know. Shohei Otani. Okay, I thought you were talking gaming for a second, so it didn't register. Yeah, Otani 6 for 6, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. Wow, that's a stat line. Holy shit!
Is he trying to be the first player to 50-50? 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases.
First member of 50-50 club. Sheesh. Also, Bloodborne.
I don't even know baseball like that, but I know.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, dude. Also, Bloodborne fans are about to take the trip to Mordor. We tired. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna remaster every game except
every
for that.
game, but the one that the fans actually want.
Yep.
Did you see the Skeletor video that was making the rounds?
Yes, I did.
That was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny.
I just especially at the line when it was like about like ignoring the fans and what they want, like with Bloodborne 2 and
Yep.
It's like Bloodborne 2 and we're ignoring you.
Yeah, we're ignoring you. Yeah, no, it is nuts. Like I said, we're gonna talk about it a little bit because it's a head scratcher, man. Let's get this chat shouted out here real quick.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead.
Brett Bingham has one interesting thing to say. Says, I have a prediction. The most popular remaster at the state of play will be multiplat with a thought and a wink.
Huh. Remaster that will be multiplat. So there's going to be more than Horizon Zero Dawn. There's going to be more than Days Gone. So we're going to have 3 remasters at the state of play.
Red Dead Redemption 2, let's go.
Oh god.
We're not in remaster, but like an update.
Well, the first one's been rumored to be in works for a long time, right?
Well, they kind of
PC version.
They kind of did like a port of it. The last time that was making the rounds, everybody was getting excited that they're going to announce a full-on remaster or remake of it or something. And then it just turned out to be like a port, and then they released it on the other platform, like the updated platforms, but they didn't really do much to it. You know, it didn't really get much work, and Xbox didn't get any re-release thing because the back compat already worked, right?
Yes, correct. Yep.
So I don't know if it'd be the first Red Dead, but anyway, I'm just trying to think.
There's supposed to be a PC version out there, right? That's what's been leaking is the PC version of Red Dead 1 is out there, and they're making it. So if they did that,
it'd be cool.
They could turn it into a full
the other one,
full remake remaster, and it's not what they did to Grand Theft Autos. I'll give them money for Red Dead 1. I absolutely will. 1,000%. Let's go.
The other one that I would say would be great is something that everybody's been wanting is the Arkham games.
Yeah.
A collection.
WB finally agreed to that. Jeez.
Yeah. It's like actually put effort and full-fledged on at least the original, like on the main 3, you know? That'd be great.
Right. They would make up the money that they lost.
On Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad. If they allowed Rocksteady to do that properly, and that's been something that's been in the works, we've said this all along.
Yeah.
That is the easiest money. Again, these common sense things just don't make sense. Like how the industry, how executives think, just mind-boggling sometimes in this. Remastering the Rocksteady or the Arkham games would be the easiest money bag in history. You could even do each one and sell them. You don't even have to do a Mass Effect collection. You could do each one, and you would have people buying them. Okay, you could really stretch it. You could really go for the bag. And yes, there might be some grumbling, but you gotta know there's millions of people who would rebuy them. Each one. Yeah. Easy. Just to play at 60 frames, bro. Just for the improved performance alone. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that would be a huge surprise at a state of play that WB agreed to do that and announce it there. That'd be crazy.
I don't just throwing the ones I want.
Yeah. No, but they make sense.
Yeah. They're some of the most requested, you know?
Yeah, Brett likes cheese. So we'll find out what he's talking about here shortly. Next week, we're supposed to get a state of play for anybody who's living at the Rock. If you're all going, what state of play? Nobody said anything about a state of play. It's pretty much out there, 24th. So it's launch day of Aura. They're trying to cancel the hype on Aura. If they're scared of Aura, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, think so.
State of play the same day. Yeah. Scared of Aura.
Like we can't. Too many strategy games. We gotta have.
We don't have
show.
any of those. Yeah. We don't have any of those.
Nobody's asking
for them
to either, though.
I know. So yeah, state of play next week.
Just saying.
Again, Phil mentions how many people are playing in Age. So yeah, state of play next week, 24th. And for people who don't know, this is the one that Grubb teased at the beginning of the month or at the end of August that he called out. And it's been kind of followed up by other people saying no first party stuff. This is going to be pretty much a third party focus, although now we have word that there are going to be first party remasters there, but nothing new supposedly from the roadmap. Nothing new to show off the PS5 Pro outside of third party titles. So there might be some third party stuff there that shows off the Pro, which makes sense. So we will see. I'm expecting Cyberpunk to be there for sure. To show off the Pro. I would be shocked if it's not here with some kind of version. But we will see. We will see next week. We're going to have more to talk about next week. So it's going to be freaking fantastic. All right, let's get the chat shouted out here. God Emperor, so King's in the house. What's going on? Got State of Remake. Yeah. Again, if they got their two and there's a third-party remake, yeah, that's pretty much a State of Remake. OCD Gamers in the house. What's going on, OCD Gamer? Solid White's in here. What's going on? Solid White says remakes is all they can do anymore. It's just filling holes, man. It's filling all the potholes. That's all they're doing. It's quick and dirty. It's easy. It's cheap. And then just, again, their fan base supports it. So whatever. They're just going to do what they're going to do. Doom Reapers in the house. Colonial Marines needs a remaster. Yo, I'm on board. Now that everybody knows that there was one line of code that screwed up that entire game, and once they replaced it, the game actually worked pretty damn good. I like Colonial Marines. I wish they would do another Aliens in that mold. Just because Gearbox screwed it up, right, does not mean people should not go back to that space with Aliens, because that game had so much potential. It was a lot of fun. I played with my kiddo a lot. Shout out to Nate Dog. He's in the house. He also dropped a $1.99 super chat. Says Switch 2 power is Series S docked before DLSS. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about the Switch 2 information, Mav, to go along with Nintendo being pieces of shit. So we're going to talk about both of those things. So anyways, yes, we did get some Switch stuff, and it is interesting. We'll see how reality all works out. It's always great to hear it in black and white and everybody talk about it, but we know it doesn't always work that way. And are they going to take advantage of it? Right? So we're going to get into that. The game adaptation newscast. What's going on? Great to see you. Fireteam Elite, way better. Oh, well, no. Hey, Fireteam had its moments. Played a lot of Fireteam. Actually really enjoyed Fireteam. Only in co-op, though, because the bots in that game sucked ass. But Fireteam had its moments, and it definitely did a great job of celebrating what Aliens is. And they used that atmosphere. That was one of the best Aliens atmosphere games I've ever played. Colonial Marines, though, had its moments, man. I'm telling you, it did. It really did have its moments. People panned it because it sucked and it had so many freaking problems when it came out. Gearbox screwed it up. But man, did it have its moments, too. Yeah. So that's a tough call. But Fireteam Elite was good. I really did like it.
Just on the Switch thing also.
Yeah.
It was said between PS4 Pro and Xbox Series S is kind of what they're saying. So
docked, it was supposed to be,
it says,
as powerful, but a little bit more powerful than Series S, and up to and not a PS5.
So I don't know this. Who's Okami? Okami is the one I'm getting this stuff from. So he said docked between PS4 Pro and Xbox Series S before DLSS.
I thought it was undocked that it was that low. With and docked, it wasn't bumped up. Okay.
No, with undocked, it's PS4.
Okay.
A little bit more than PS4.
Again. Come talk to me when we see games running on it, because all this is great.
It doesn't mean like this stuff. Like it says handheld right above PS4 before DLSS, and then docked between PS4 Pro and Series S.
Okay.
before DLSS. Whatever that means. It's hard to compare a fucking handheld NVIDIA TAC to like
Anything.
like old consoles and even like a new console. Like it's just kind of different. So we'll see what they do.
It's not looking like it's OLED, and people have already pointed out that the battery size, according to the leak screenshots, looks not good. That it's not going to be great battery life. So, anyways, but we're going to find out. Again, we're close. We should be hearing about the Switch 2 sometime in the next 6 months, max. So, but yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about it. Let's see here. What? Who else we got in here? Got Doom Reaper. Great. Oh, Spider-Man 356, $4.99 or $5.99 for the Switch 2. Oh boy, this is such a big leap for Nintendo. This is like 3 generations of leap technology-wise for Nintendo. So I'm gonna go $5.99. They're gonna go for the gusto on this one. What do you think, Mav? Backwards compatible, $5.99
for
the Switch 2.
Yeah, I was thinking $4.99.
Okay, you're gonna go $4.99. I'll say $5.99. I think they're going for the gusto on this one.
Yeah, I think it's just wishful thinking for me, because like a lot of people are running with $3.99 out there, and I don't think they're going to be able to do it, right? Because of just how expensive stuff is, and when you go small, things are more expensive, and so I think maybe that's around what their cost is going to be. Maybe I don't know, and then they're like our price as retail consumers will be around $4.99.
Okay.
And then obviously it'll never go down in price, and it'll just stay that way for years, and
correct,
they'll continue to make more and more profit on it for about 7 years.
Yep. Mario Wonderland 2 on Switch will be $80.
Yeah. So I'm thinking $4.99.
$4.99? Okay. Yeah. All right, we're gonna see. It's gonna be fun. Mr. Waffles is in the house. Going on. Mr. Waffles said scalpers are gonna have a field day with the 30th edition PS5. Oh, bro, it's gonna be a shit show. 12,300 limited edition. We're going to talk about it. It's super dope. I love it. I love the look. I love that they're doing a numbered edition. I think that is so cool. But yeah, if you don't think these things are going to be sold for $3 to $4 grand, you got another thing coming. It's going to be nuts. Let's see here. Who else we got in the house? We got brother from another Psychonauts in here. What's going on, brother? Holding it down on the front line, meeting fans of the Mr. Boomstick and Mav shows out there on the front lines today. He was telling us in the DMs he got somebody who knew Mr. Boomstick and Mav and watched us. So shout out to Psycho.
Well, if they knew me, they knew you, Psycho.
Well, he did. Oh. He said he told me it was Psychonauts, and the dude freaked out.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm sure he signed something. I'm sure Psycho signed.
Oh yeah,
wise. Yeah, I'm sure. But I don't know.
Nice.
Like a GameStop receipt.
Real quick, just hey Sonic, man, I usually love your sweet tea, but I don't know what the fuck is going on with this one, man.
I thought somebody in the chat was called Sonic.
No. Like it's not Sonic Drive-In. I just got to call you out because I've been trying to. This thing is fucking nasty, dude. I don't know what the hell you did with this sweet tea here, but man,
they peed in it.
It's like tastes like dirty water, bro.
They peed in it.
Maybe, yeah. That's some. Sonic is known for like those of you that are sweet tea aficionados. Sonic usually has some pretty damn good sweet tea. This shit's been sitting there for like fucking 5 days in the back of a closet somewhere. I don't know what the hell happened. Sonic.
Mom, we are not gonna have a Sonic Mav rant on fucking PM of the PM, all right, bro?
Oh
God,
together,
solid
bro.
white, we're not having a Mav rant about the freaking tea. Oh my God. We got enough to talk about.
Why am I drinking it then? Because it was my drink. I wanted to enjoy my fucking sweet tea, and it's rank.
He's hoping it's gonna get better with
yeah, it's like maybe this ice waters it down more. It's gonna taste less like ass. I don't know.
Caitlin, come get him a real iced tea, would you? Solid. Oh, I already got solid white, but bruh, solid white. Great to see you, brother. James Thomas is in here. What's going on? Remaster Station 5. Yeah, pretty much what we're going to talk about tonight. Verg Brizzle's in the house. Says, sup, man? Sup, Pong? Sup to you, Verg Brizzle. Great to see you. Oh, the brother from another. Steel Rain is lurking in here. What's going on, brother? Big Mad Mo is in the house. Big Mad Mo's guessing $2.99 to $3.99. If Nintendo jumps this big in technology, like this big, and they come in at $299 to $399 Big Bambo, that would be a freaking steal and a half. I would even come on here and say that's a steal.
Yeah.
If they do it. If that's exactly what they come in at. I just can't see it.
Yeah, I'll get it right away if even at $499 if it has full back compat with the Switch, and it also gives you some kind of device enhancements like on your original Switch games. Like, I want to be able to read the dialogue on the games I couldn't read before because they're too blurry. You know, I want like a automatic resolution boost on my other Switch games when it's docked. From 1080, whatever it was before, I want like those enhancements built in. I don't want to have to pay for them.
I get it. We'll see.
I want them to improve my existing library somewhat. We got that with Xbox and PlayStation this generation.
Yeah.
With a lot of games. Why should we not expect the same kind of treatment from Nintendo?
Because it's Nintendo. Again, the Defense Force was out today saying that they have every right to sue Palworld. Fuck out of here. Anyways, we'll get into it. Phenylalanin, 1979. I know I just butchered that, but I don't care. Phenylalanin. Phenylalanin.
Where is it?
Phenylalanin. Phenyl. Yeah, see.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Phenylalanin, 1979.
Phenylalanin, yeah.
Phenylalanin.
It's 1979. That's very good for a Nintendo system. Can't wait to see the next 3D Mario with 12 gigs of RAM and 2 gigs per second loading. It's going to be insane. Yeah, for the Mario fans, it's going to be incredible out there. Steel says $499. Shout out to Steel. Although Steel is the one who said that I was crazy for saying PlayStation 5 Pro was going to be $700. But we're going to find out. Legendary Yobi. What's going on, brother? Hashtag peace, love, life. Peace, love, life to you, sir. Keep the positivity rolling. Love you, brother. Thank you for being here. The one and only, of course, Decado is in the house. What's going on, Decado? Great to see you. Says, I didn't know they added the Battle Sisters to Inquisitor Martyr. Yes, Decado, they added a bunch of stuff to Martyr, for sure. That was, I guess I haven't really looked because I could just continue to play my assassin all the damn time. But yes, I did read when I was reading through all the updates for Martyr. I mean, that was a long time ago too, but they've done so much with Inquisitor. It's crazy. Tarnish the Witch. What's going on? It says the 864p remake Station 5 Pro. Yes. That internal resolution is not sounding great on every game. Sin, what is going on, brother? Great to see you. He says, hey, at least the mystery of the great baby oil shortage has been solved, y'all. No diddy, Sin. No diddy. That is true, though. I don't know. Even with freak parties, I don't know why you'd need that many bottles of baby oil on hand. But okay. Anyways, Diddy was on another level with a lot of things. And he's in trouble. BT Maverick 707. What's going on? He says, I'm calling a Gravity Rush remake remaster. There's supposed to be an upcoming movie on that. BT Maverick, one of my favorite. Already, we're going to talk about this for a short period too later. Random, one of my favorite Vita games is getting remastered out of the freaking blue. One of the coolest things I've seen happen. Yet again, the Golden Age is here. A game that, why would I ever think they would ever bring this back? But they did. So I can't wait to talk about that one. But yes, absolutely Gravity Rush deserves it. That has got a really big fan base. Gravity Rush is freaking interesting as hell to play. Loved the Gravity Rush games. So if they do that, I will be extremely happy with that as well. I just can't believe how many cool remasters we're getting. I'm picking up a Lollipop Chainsaw tomorrow too, by the way. So I will be talking about that as well once I get to play it. I saw Boom playing it, for God's sakes. I'm like, Boom's playing this before me. Are you kidding me right now? I gotta pick it up. Black Card A! What's going on, Black Card A? Great to see you, brother. Thank you for jumping in here as always. Cyber Gunter says October is stacked with games. 2024 is stacked with games, Gunter. 2024 has been stacked with games. And we should have a vow, damn it. There should be another one in here, but it's not. But 2024 is still stacked. It's freaking crazy, man. It's so crazy. Who else we got in here? We got the Beer Baron, of course, dropping on in here, bringing an extra keg for everybody. Thank you, Beer Baron. He goes, we're out here. We're up to our damn eyeballs and remasters out here. Yeah, we are. That's for sure. The aforementioned Brett Bangham's in the house. What's going on, Brett? We got the Porky Soda. What's going on? Porky says, hi, I'm here now. I was at Dirt's Pod. Hey, welcome, Porky, and thanks for dropping on by after Dirt's Pod. Shout out to the one and only Dirt Greggity. We bleed green and talk that shit. I love Dirt, man. He dropped into our 200th episode of Xbox Ultimate. Always been a friend of the show. I've been on We Bleed Green a bunch of times. Mav's been over there a bunch of times. Love those dudes. Oscar Emilio A. Gonzalez is in the house. What's going on, Oscar? Hello, everyone. Hit that like button. Thank you, Oscar. And thank you for being here so I could say your full name, sir. Appreciate that. I love it. Depka's in the house. What's up, Depka? Says Dragon Age character creator is trending on X, and it's like create your own Concord character. It's terrible. Oh, Depka, we're not going to get into it, but yeah, some interesting conversations happening around that as well. Oh, boy, Western devs, man, I tell you. Brandon Martin, what is going on, Brandon? Great to see you on here. Says, I'm playing God of War Ragnarok on the PC. Congratulations, sir. At 1440p at medium high settings at 120 frames per second. It's playing very well and looks really good. Playing the best version of God of War Ragnarok, Brandon. You are. Congratulations. You're playing the pro version. And it didn't cost you $700 to buy a new system. Hats off to you, sir. Web Dave is in the house. What's going on, Web Dave? Dave, always good to see you, brother. He says, everyone hit the like button. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you so much, man, for jumping in here with all your energy, brother. Blaze RPT's in the house. Remastered Remix Roadmap. That's what we're going to be talking about, Blaze. Andrew Cullinane. What is going on with all the games I haven't played yet? I just started Red Dead Redemption 2 for the third time. Hey, so it's about go back to them games, brother. It don't matter. I'm playing some weird random games on PC where I got all these brand new games that I should be pumping in, hours into. Shit, man. Play what you want to play, man. Sometimes you just got to go back and just do the classics too. Nothing wrong with that, Andrew Cullinane. Don't worry about it, man. Games are forever. They're going to be around. When we all leave this earth, I can guarantee you all of us will probably have a back catalog still sitting there that we never got to, which is really sad to think about, but it's probably going to be a fact. So just go play what you want to play, man, and enjoy it. Of course, the brother from another 3-bit, the man who is responsible for every bad thing happening in this industry. That's right. He's got his hands in it all. He is the main puppet master, and he is the one who creates all the problems. So 3-bit, thanks for being here, man. Glad you could still show your face. And I heard they kicked you out of Paris, and that's why you're back already. So I heard they wouldn't let you stay because you're the cause of all the problems. But welcome back, sir. Mitchie dies a lot. Thank you for joining in here, my friend. Alvin. Sorry, my voice is not good today at all. Allergies coming in that fall season. Alvin, great to see you, brother. Thank you for being here. And Masshole 1977 was in here early with his yo, sup nerds. Sup to you, nerd. Thanks, Masshole. I always love when you jump in here with the nerds, man. Night Turtle, you were in here very early. Night Turtle said exactly what I said, and I swear to you, Night Turtle, I never read your comment. But Night Turtle said fill it in the potholes. I never. That was back before we started the show. That's crazy. Night Turtle, great minds think alike. Who else we got at the bottom here? We got Jesse P jumping in here. Says games are forever except for Concord. That's true. That is true, sir. Tarnish the Witch. I don't know if I got you earlier, but thank you for being in here. 2023 for gaming was great. This year is mid, though. Not saying some great games didn't launch this year, though. Hey, it's all going to be personal. To me, this year beats last year. Again, last year had big titles, but this year overall, I think quality-wise, and again, it's because I play so many different types of games. I gotta say this year is better for me overall. So again, but that is going to be personal opinion. Last year last year was freaking fantastic. Last year was one of the GOATs. So just crazy. Next year is going to be about this too. Prince Green, what's going on? Great to see you in here. Prince Green came over from Dirt's show too. Appreciate you, Prince. Thank you so much. Let me see here. I think everybody's in here. All right. Captain Crunch, one of my favorite cereals. Thanks for being here, brother. Got the popcorn out ready for the show. Let's get down to the show, Mav. So let's hop into this. So let's just get into the main event, Mav. Let's just do it, brother. We already talked a lot of games. We're going to talk some more games too because there's some other stuff, cool stuff coming out. But let's get into the PlayStation talk. We've been having more PlayStation talk, Mav, on this show than we have in a long ass time for weeks on end here. They've actually been making news. Not all of it great, obviously. Right? We had Concord, and then of course we had Game of the Year Astrobot come out, which was good. And then obviously we, had the PlayStation 5 Pro last week come in at $700 and freak everybody the hell out. Well, Mav, this week comes along, and obviously a lot of people started talking about the state of play. And there was smoke early on Monday that it was going to be 24th, and people kind of just running with it, and it makes sense. It's exactly what Grubb was talking about. So 24th is going to be state of play. And then all of a sudden we got word that one of the games was going to be, because it got rated as an ESRB, which means it's very close to launch, that Horizon Zero Dawn is getting remastered. Horizon Zero Dawn is going to get a remaster. Okay. All right. And I like Horizon. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm a Horizon fan.
We all asked for this. It's about damn time.
Yeah, right. Man. And then to top it off too, Mav, that Grubb came out then on his Giant Bomb show today, early this morning, and said that, oh, by the way, there's even a less exciting remaster that's going to be at the state of play. Everybody's like, less exciting remaster? What? Everybody was already upset at the remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn, and everybody's like, wait, there's gonna be something even less.
How can you get less exciting of a remaster than Horizon Zero Dawn?
Yeah, how is this possible in any way, shape, or form? Like, what is going on? And then the rumors started flying, Mav. I don't know where they started for sure, but everybody seems to be on board, so we will find out. Maybe it's completely wrong. Maybe this is another case of the Xbox debacle with what's going third party and people are just throwing shit against the wall. But this would actually be, to the vast majority of people, not everybody, because there are some people who think this game's good, and I actually did enjoy my time with this game. I put about, I think, 8-10 hours into it on PS4, somewhere in that neighborhood, and I really did enjoy the game. And like Mav said, I talked about at the beginning, and he picked it up. I've been thinking about picking it up on PC for a while now, but of course I'm talking about Days Gone. So yeah, that's right. The demise of Ben Studios. I know where this rumor actually started, because one of the Ben Studio guys was talking about the former director who is always up in arms and complaining about Days Gone never getting a sequel and blaming everybody.
Yeah.
One of the guys currently at Ben said, well, if he's upset about about Astrobot having a Days Gone reference, which it did, he's going to be really upset coming up here, or whatever the case may be, when he sees what's next. So that's where everybody started running with, oh, that's got to be the remake that's going to be announced. So Horizon Zero Dawn, and we'll just roll with it, Days Gone are going to be two remasters.
Those are the two that were the cheapest in the publisher sale also, right?
Correct.
So those were like the 75% off ones. So like if they're trying to, sell those for the less amount for that way that because nobody's going to want those as much probably soon.
Probably.
God, maybe they won't care on PC and just get the cheap ones anyway, because it doesn't really matter.
It's not going to freaking matter.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do, what they would even justify it with on PC.
Well, I'm curious what they could justify it with in general.
Well,
because
obviously,
don't those games both run well on a PS5? Like,
they do.
Didn't they already get kind of like some sort of like level of automatic kind of enhancements,
Both of these have pro versions, Mav, and so they just did all that work anyway. So they're like, we might as well just release a remaster version too.
Well, like what I'm saying is, like, I think both of those games run 60 frames.
They do, but they could update the graphics, obviously in Horizon and both of them. They could update it. I'm not justifying this because I think it's fucking stupid, right? I'm not. I'm just throwing it out there that they'll come up with something. I mean, again, they did it with that, but like with director's cuts. So,
but the rumor's no upgrade path.
No, there's no word either way.
Okay,
there's no word either.
I won't be like as critical if there's like a upgrade path. I prefer something like just got announced, right? Darksiders 2 definitive edition, right? It's getting a free update and it's giving all these randomly, like this random game, like getting an awesome like next gen upgrade and update, right? Yeah. And guess what? You know, that keeps the games relevant and keeps people interested, and actually people end up buying these games when they get announcements like that. It's happened time and time this generation with different games have gotten free updates. I have applauded Xbox so much for updating with free enhancements to a lot of their games. Ubisoft has done some of the same. Even EA has done some of this, right?
Supposedly Syndicate is now going to get an update from Ubisoft.
Right.
That's the one Assassin's Creed game that has not been updated. One of my favorite top 3 Assassin's Creed for me is finally supposedly going to get an update.
So there's that level, and I consider that kind of like part of games preservation, right?
Oh yeah,
it's like especially if you own like a game. If you own a game and you own it digitally, it's always going to be moving forward with you to like future hardware, right? And like my argument's always been like, hey, that'd be cool if they update the games to take advantage of the future hardware, and like if they can, you know, I don't think that takes a whole lot of work. I don't know exactly what they do, but for games that are already look good, that already perform well, you know, you kind of just go in there and, you know, upgrade it and update it and put it out there, and it keeps the game relevant and more interested for people to purchase it going forward as well, right? It's brought life to old games this generation. So I champion that 100%. Sometimes the publishers do these little like $10 upgrade paths, or like, hey, here's an enhancement, or, you know, director's cut or whatever. And that can be annoying too, but you know, at least some of them have new content. One of them that PlayStation did was Death Stranding 2, right? That had a $10, not 2, sorry. Death Stranding had a $10, I think, upgrade path, but it also had like extra content that was not part of the original game. The more stuff you can do and more things you can play. So I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? That's okay. But like games that are generally just like really good already or loved and already have gotten some of these enhancements for this generation, I just don't understand going and reselling with some slight fidelity improvements and stuff to reset the price, to say. I think is more than anything. It's like they want to reset the price on the default version of the games to like a $50, $60, $70 standard now. And does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and I can see them reselling both of those because of how because they are part of the older generation. I can see them both reselling them as those $50 packages. Like I could totally see it happening. Again, I can't justify it either way. I just listen. It's just a head. It's a head scratcher. Like I said, it's filling in potholes. I get it, but it's a head scratcher, man. From the standpoint is, you've gone so long without telling, and this isn't like we talked about this when Xbox was doing this too. The difference is Xbox had a showcase each year, right? And we did get to see part of the roadmap each year. Now, we always didn't agree with the roadmap, but not everybody always liked the roadmap, but we got to see the roadmap each year, even when games weren't coming out, like 2022, right? We still knew a roadmap, and we still knew what games were coming. The problem with PlayStation right now, man, is nobody knows what's coming from their first party. Like, again, they've got fair games, right? That's now first party, but most of their Sony fans, their Sony only fans, the enthusiasts don't even really look at that game or Haven as first party. Like they'll count it if it comes out and it's good, but generally speaking, they don't call that out like, oh, we're super excited for fair games. It's the same that happened with Concord. Nobody was calling out Concord except for a few right? We know how bad that went for them because they went way over the top with it, trying to tell everybody it was the greatest freaking game of all time, and I'm not even joking about that. Anyways, nobody's doing that with fair games. And there's hints, there's been talk, we got the Insomniac leak, but Sony themselves have not done a showcase, a true first-party showcase in so long. Like, again, their roadmap ended with God of War Ragnarok. And now, I'm not the dude who discredits third-party deals because, again, we were talking about Xbox having third-party deals for Game Pass that was covering a lot of the lineup when we weren't getting first-party titles. Now, everybody else, the other side always tries to dismiss that and say it was not, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't count. Those games don't count. They're not first-party. But now everybody's like, oh, well, but Sony's giving us games. Look at, we got Final Fantasy VII, and we got Stellar Blade, and we got all these games. That, again, those are good, and I have zero problem with like saying, yeah, Sony's cutting some deals for their players, but they're real players. They're enthusiasts out here have always talked about the premium experience is from Sony first party. That is what set Sony apart, according to a great group of fan base that made PlayStation extremely popular. It's that first-party title lineup that started with the PS4 generation. Well, it started with the PS3 generation, let's be real, but really got cooking in the PS4 generation and carried them here. That's what sells everybody on the PlayStation brand. And the old Sony really didn't go this long. They had their hopes and dreams, and then from the hopes and dreams moment on, they started hitting. Right. And that was pretty much the status quo for PlayStation from that point forward. But now we're back to a spot. And we all kind of said that this could happen, especially with them leaning into games as a service. We know what's happened with their games as a service initiative and all those games being canceled, that there's going to be a lull here. But these remasters, Mav, would be fine if there was some type of roadmap for the first party big bangers that everybody loves, right? If there was even a little bit of a roadmap for the next, let's say, year with a couple of the first party titles, like let's say we had Naughty Dog had a new one next year, or Ghost of Tsushima 2 is actually announced, which, there's tons of smoke about, and Sucker Punch was ready to talk, and they had already said, hey, we're coming up with Ghost of Tsushima 2 and just showed a little teaser. Like, then you can have these kind of announcements with remasters. But the problem being is this is the only first-party titles that have been really being talked about by Sony outside of Concord, outside of the cancellations of games as a service. The only thing Sony fans have heard is remaster, director's cut, over and over again. And some pretend to be happy and fine with this, right? But I'm just going off what they've all told us, that's not why they're with PlayStation. They're with PlayStation for the big first-party AAA releases, the new games that come out, right? The continuation of beloved IP like The Last of Us, right? Like Spider-Man, etc. And that's all dead quiet right now, Mav. And this generation has been crazy for that. Demon's Souls remake, which was deserved. Demon's Souls absolutely deserved a remake from the PS3 era. That's a good one. Remake Demon's Souls all day long. Cool. Spider-Man remastered. Ghost of Tsushima director's cut. Okay. Death Stranding director's cut. Like Mav said, had a little extra content. But again, overall, okay. Looked great before it, right? Didn't need it. The Last of Us Part 1 remake. We know how many times that's been remade now. Third time right there. Uncharted Legacy Thieves Collection. Okay. Last of Us Part 2 remastered. Until Dawn remastered. A remaster that nobody freaking asked for. To go along with The Last of Us Part 2 remastered, which was absolutely, of course, not needed at all. And now the Horizon Zero Dawn remastered, and we'll throw Days Gone remastered in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I might have miscounted, but I think 11 total there, Mav.
Yeah.
That's nuts, bro. And you've got PlayStation, and this isn't like, again, this isn't just us talking.
Yeah, these aren't free, right?
Yeah, these are, right. These are reselling to you, right? These are reselling to you, whether it's full price or partial price or an upgrade path, they're reselling. This is money making, but this isn't just us talking about this. PlayStationLifestyle.net. For anybody who doesn't know, pretty popular PlayStation site, right? They wrote an article today. Another pointless PS5 remaster rumored, and players are unhappy. The list of pointless PS5 remakes and remasters continues to grow, leaving players confused and unhappy. We're not talking about the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster, which is all but confirmed. Rumor has it Sony has another unwanted remaster in the works, which may be announced soon. Reports of the unnamed remaster come from journalist Jeff Grubb, who seems convinced that September 2024's PlayStation State of Play is happening next week. In an episode of Game Mess Mornings, Grubb added that Sony may announce a remaster other than Horizon Zero Dawn at the event, and it'll be less exciting. Grubb made the less exciting comment in reference to the overwhelmingly negative reactions to yesterday's Horizon Zero Dawn remastered ESRB rating. His report was met with even more negative reactions across social media and gaming platforms. Quote, Horizon strikes me as a really pointless and non-exciting remaster in the first place, so I have no idea what that could mean, wrote one player. Less exciting than Horizon remaster? That would be almost impressive, wrote another. Players have expressed that there's dissatisfaction with PlayStation Studios' output, and certainly begs belief that Sony keeps pumping funds into these projects after CFO Hiroki Totoki admitted that PlayStation is struggling with profits despite hit releases. PS5 is about to enter its 5th year, and a PS5 Pro is on the horizon, yet major first-party releases have been few and far between. To be clear, players aren't opposed to remastered remakes. Look no further than the Bloodborne fan community. Players are perplexed by what Sony chooses to remaster. Until Dawn, Horizon Zero Dawn, and the billionth release of The Last of Us, to name a few. It's hard to disagree with the community here. PlayStation really needs to give players something to be excited about, and soon. All eyes are now on the next PlayStation event, but something tells me we should keep our expectations in check. And this is from Zarmina Khan over at PlayStationLifestyle.net. Again, pretty big site. Been around for a long time. Big PlayStation fan site. I'm talking about this, and this was before the rumors came out about Days Gone being that next remake. But, Mav, overall, when you just look at this, right, and we've talked about this in the past, but you look at PlayStation and what their history was with the PlayStation 4 and how dominant they were. And they've continued to be dominant this generation because they're the most popular brand in town when it comes to consoles, right? They flexed it. They've certainly put out some good first-party titles that their fans have been happy with. Not going to take anything away from them, obviously. God of War Ragnarok obviously hit big for them. Obviously Spider-Man continues to hit big for them. Spider-Man 2 hit big for them. But overall, man, it really does got to start to feel like, what are we doing here? And we kind of hinted that when we were talking earlier, Mav, like, you got Bloodborne that everybody is clamoring for, and you don't remake it. But you don't even have a roadmap for these first-party games, and supposedly the State of Play is not going to do anything to alleviate that. You've been in hiding, and we know there's stuff in the works, but you've been in hiding now for basically years without saying one word to your core fan base who's been out here trumpeting you nonstop, talking about, we are willing to pay $100 for Sony premium games. Just give us the games. We'll pay $100. And you're not even teasing them at this point. Now, they don't have to. Nothing's required. But my God, is it odd for a gaming company that has been known to pump out first-party titles, that has some of the biggest developers in the world, some developers that people consider the greatest developers in the world, to not even being given glimpses of the future at all, Mav. And they just announced a PS5 Pro and used pretty much all third-party titles to promote it outside of a couple first-party titles. Nothing new. Again, a brand new console you're trying to sell for $700 plus $800 with a disc drive. A little weird here, Mav. What do you think?
I want to take the opportunity to go back and actually look at this generation for PlayStation,
Sure,
right?
go ahead.
Just in general, because
Yeah.
like a lot of people for a long time, it was like Xbox has no games, and that was used for like console war narratives and stuff like that, and all these things, and like it was kind of accepted by many, and even earlier in this generation that PlayStation's got it together and Xbox is like failing and all these other kind of things with delivering on the pipeline and all this kind of stuff. But like, we've seen this repeated thing this generation of filling in the gaps using the remasters and remakes, while the free upgrades that you get on Xbox have been kind of just like, hey, cool, another one, another one, another one. Imagine if Xbox had used all of those as reselling opportunities to like fill in the pipeline for content and all these free upgrades that we've got, and actually have like releases to mark down on the calendar of like, hey, everybody, this is going to be the next like Master Chief Collection resold. Remastered. Remember the big update we got for that earlier this generation? That was absolutely amazing. Or like you could even go through for examples when we did get some ones that even they were reselling after the acquisition of ZeniMax Bethesda with like Skyrim Anniversary. But guess what? If you actually owned it, you got it for free. Right? You could buy the extra content if you wanted to, but hey, if you already owned the game, you got the upgrades for free. Right? I mean, imagine that was highly touted as like, hey, this whole big new thing, right? And that they keep if they were to use those free updates that we had gotten early on, how much of a difference that would make comparatively to what PlayStation's been doing with actually reselling these games. So I want to go back to kind of the start of this generation back in 2020, and I want to kind of go through, and we're going to actually judge this a little bit, right? 2020 for actual Sony Interactive Entertainment. And this is Sony Interactive Entertainment Publishing for published games by Sony here, okay? Demon Souls. Hey, that was a remake, right? But, as Pong said, that's one that was warranted. I feel like that one, there was a lot of work put in. It's pretty much a whole new game. Yeah, it goes through kind of the same progress and everything, but the way they did that, that's the way, if you're doing it, you should take it as something that's older like that, that's well worthy of having a full-on remake to it. So I applaud them for Demon Souls, right? In 2020, you got Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and then you got the Miles Morales at one point, which was kind of like a expansion that was kind of turned into a standalone, right? That had been kind of was originally maybe planned as DLC that we're able to kind of put together enough content in there to sell it for $50, which was a very highly anticipated title that year. So you had Sackboy Adventure, Demon Souls, Miles Morales. The two full actual releases that year, you could say Sackboy: A Big Adventure and Demon Souls, which is a remake. Okay. Then you also had Spider-Man Remastered. So, for whatever that was worth. 2021, Destruction All-Stars. They remember originally they were going to try and sell that game for $70, and they put it in PlayStation Plus after the backlash. Returnal, props to them. You got new IP, a great game, well received. So that was the bounce back after Destruction All-Stars. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, fair enough too. You got two good games coming out that year. Then, hey, guess what? You got Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, and then you got Death Stranding Director's Cut. So they had two good games. You had one epic failure in Destruction All-Stars, and you had two Director's Cuts. Okay, so that's a total of really 3 kind of new games, right? And remember also at this time, MLB The Show, which was a yearly release, has also, by this point, been coming to Game Pass day and date on Xbox. So, going to 2022, this was the year that they stood out for me. 2022 was the year that it was Xbox's worst year, and as for Series X and Series S, but PS5's best year. So on 2022 is when they finally really fully kind of delivered on a full kind of like, hey, one big game, or four big games for the year. Now remember, some of these have been delayed due to COVID and all these other kind of things. So you kind of had like this like swell of good games. You had God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Forbidden West. So that was 3. That was like the big 3, really. Even if you go back to the beginning of this generation, all the way from 2020, that's really the 3 biggest games kind of they had, all launching in the same year. So you had Ragnarok, GT7, and Horizon Forbidden West. Then guess what? 2 more remasters. You got Last of Us Part 1, and then you got Legacy of Thieves Collection. So finally, they delivered on 3 games, 3 good games. That's awesome. Remember, this was a year that was celebrated as PlayStation was killing it in 2022, comparatively to 2021, which was very you had Returnal, remember, and Ratchet and Clank. 2020, you had Demon Souls and Sackboy Big Adventure. Then you had Miles Morales. 2023, you had Horizon Forbidden West and Spider-Man 2. So you had two good big games there. Other than that, nothing. Then in 2024, I mean, you have Astrobot and Concord, which is an epic failure. Helldivers 2, good, right? Astrobot and Helldivers 2 were wins. Rise of the Ronin, pretty good, right? And published by them, so it's second party, but still published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Stellar Blade, consider that kind of a win for them too this year. I don't know how you feel about that, Stellar Blade, but Stellar Blade, Rise of the Ronin, Concord, Astrobot. I'm just saying, like, and comparatively to like the actual production from published games from Sony Interactive Entertainment this generation, it's not like you're getting like 4 or 5 epic, huge, great games per year, which is kind of what a lot of people make it seem like. But a lot of it's because of these remasters that are thrown in there, like Last of Us Part 2 remastered thrown in this year. You know, you have last year, you have. Or not last year, but the year before that, you have, or sorry, no, last year actually, you had Horizon Forbidden West was actually 2022. I take it back. So 2023, what do they have? Just Spider-Man 2? Well, it was 2023. All they had was Spider-Man 2.
Was it really?
Yeah. I mean, they had Square Enix games.
Yeah, they did.
But like,
I thought there was one more first party. There wasn't.
Well, I mean, you can count the show, but like,
when was Forbidden West? Spring of 22?
22, but in 2023 they had Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition.
Oh. Okay.
Because there was an expansion, so they had the expansion for Forbidden West.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's what I was thinking about. Okay. I guess,
so 20
that was it because it was the big one, because that's what we talked about. We're like, they don't have anything, but they do have the big one. It's Spider-Man 2. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So last year was like the worst year for them by far.
Yeah.
And then this year, like I would say Astrobot and Helldivers 2 is a win. You know, you got the second. You can tell at this point they had realized the kind of shit that they were going to be like dealing with, so they had made deals, maybe because remember Stellar Blade was originally going to be everywhere. They had money had that, and then also right. Well, Black Myth Wukong isn't published by them, so but
I know.
Yeah.
They potentially cut a deal to fill.
Right. So yeah, you can tell by this point they're starting to do some of these other kind of deals to try and fill stuff out, right? Stellar Blade, Rise of the Ronin, they had done the deal for Rise of the Ronin. I would say that's a positive, having Rise of the Ronin. And then, yeah, I'm just ultimately, you have a lot of fucking remasters filling in this pipeline.
Yeah,
it's not too different from the production that Xbox has had this generation overall. And really this year specifically, Xbox has a lot more. And then going into next year, it's even more so. It's just, we've been talking about the roadmap for a while.
When was Ragnarok, though? When was Ragnarok?
Ragnarok was in 2022. Yeah, 2022.
That was November 2022. That's right, because we talked about they had a year gap almost between.
2022 was the year I said they had like the best year, right? They had, because they had 3 big games. They had Ragnarok, GT7, and Forbidden West.
That's right, and then because the PlayStation community was like, "Oh, we got Forspoken."
Okay. Right, because they had like Square Enix like money had or deals and stuff like that.
Because they had Forspoken, they had Final Fantasy, and then of course Baldur's Gate 3 debacle. That was the other one, right? So yeah, that's right. Yep, nope, that lines up. Okay.
So yeah, but I want to focus on like their actual publishing. So like
correct.
But publishing from Sony has been, they've had one really solid year. I would say this year's been okay because they had some of those deals. overall, I was not expecting this year to be as positive as it was for them. They've had Hellblade 2 hit, which I think was something that we hoped would happen. Astrobot came out to a predictable amount of success for us, at least for critically and stuff like that. The other games kind of hit or miss or whatever, but just in general, like it's been a very like you had one epic year for PlayStation, and then besides that, it's kind of like, eh.
Yeah, they've been on coast. They've been on cruise control a little bit.
Yeah, and they've been filling in pipelines with second and third party deals, which we said they were going to have to early this generation. We're gonna like they're not going to be able to compete with like everything that Xbox has been doing with the acquisition, so they're going to be doing more money hat deals. They're going to be doing more third party publishing type things and all those kind of things for exclusivity on their games, and we even have some of those other kind of things or what's kind of announced for their pipeline going forward still, right? But they don't still like get the same excitement as like their big first party brand studios and their own games. So those are like what's kind of the troubling thing. It's what we've been saying for a while. As I had a tweet last year when I was like, PlayStation has a first party games problem, right? Got so much kickback on that. Then they only had one fucking real first party game last year,
right?
But then what started happening was, hey, it's okay, less is more.
Oh yeah,
remember that whole conversation started happening, right? Sure. And then now we have, guess what? More announcements of remasters coming up. And on the list, I was mentioning, like, we already went through the remasters and remakes, so, like, I didn't really go through that. But imagine that if Xbox, instead of giving all those updates for free, Pong, like, imagine if they had used those as selling points to fill in their pipeline and resold us all those games. Like,
what you could have done.
They could have, but it's not a good thing to do. Ubisoft could have done the same damn thing. So could have EA and all those studios. Instead, you had some of the scenarios where they actually do the right thing, and like the Mass Effect collection was the right thing for EA, right?
Correct.
You have examples like that, but ultimately you got a lot of free updates too. I remember Jedi Fallen Order. We got a free update for that early this generation, and it completely transformed the game, right? And we even got some of those from PlayStation. Those should be applauded, like the games that got boosted to 60 frames and stuff like that. But those are the same ones they're reselling now too, which even is more baffling to me. It's like, hey, we're doing good by the consumer here, but we need to still figure out ways to make some more money later and fuck over the consumers later. So we're going to go back and remake or remaster these ones that are already great, even on current hardware. Like, I don't know. It's just, I'm not a fan of that whatsoever.
No, I'm not. Like I said, it's fine, right? If you're giving your fans what you normally give them, and then you throw in some remasters, right? Like that's totally cool. Again, I'm for good remasters, right? I'm for ones that make sense. I'm not for the money cash grabs for no reason. Again, Last of Us 2 had no business being remastered. Okay, that's just stupid. Okay, that was straight up a money grab. Everybody knows what that is. Again, you could do it as a business, but I'm not going to come out and say, "Oh, that was a good remaster. That was really great." But it is to the point now when you look at this, like are we approaching almost 2-to-1 remasters, remakes versus their first party output, like actually published games, man? Like, are we getting close to that like level of remasters? If they do announce Zero Dawn and they do announce Days Gone for this generation, like that is a lot. That is more than a lot. And it is something that's quite obvious to even their fans. And their fans are even starting to grumble about it because they just haven't had a showcase. All they got to do is have a showcase. That's all we've talked about, man. Just have one hopes and dreams. Even if it's a hopes and dreams years down the road kind of deal, because your first party is so behind because you took them off of mainline projects, put them on the games as a service, and then was like, "Oh, we're not doing that no more. Oh, we're not doing that anymore, guys. Go back to doing what you're doing. Go back to making what you make. Although you got to cut back some budgets. You got to cut back. Hiroki says, enough with the big budgets. You guys got to cut back on that. Figure something else out." But that's obviously what's caused a lot of this outside of Insomniac, who's carrying everything. You know, Insomniac is probably going to have they should have the Spider-Man 2 DLC next year, the Venom expansion, which we saw in the leak. That should be next year, etc. So Insomniac's still doing their thing. But obviously they started working on that Spider-Man multiplayer game, and that got squashed too. So they wasted resources there. But everybody else has been pulled off. They've got Cory Barlog and a small team working on a brand new IP. Naughty Dog supposedly started on a new IP. But obviously those projects aren't moving at the pace that they initially or thought they would, or they just haven't got to the point where they want to tease them.
Yeah.
But they should be teasing them. But Ghost of Tsushima 2 is the automatic win here. And we still haven't seen that. And why not?
Yeah.
Why not cut a deal to get a Bloodborne remaster done? Again, the common sense stuff, the easy wins. Like, if you're gonna do this remaster thing, fine, but at least give the fans the ones they want. Give them Bloodborne. Do you know how much goodwill you'd earn just from doing that after all this time?
Yeah.
And yeah, here we sit, and we're coming up in another state of play, and we're supposedly gonna have Zero Dawn. We're supposedly gonna have Days Gone, potentially a third-party one, according to Brett Bingham. And then according to a lot of people, Jeff Grubb, it's just going to be a third-party show. And that's it. And no first party. And the next big smoke rumor is December, that they are going to actually have a showcase in December. We'll see. Again, it's just rumor central right now. But my God, man. Almost how long? When was their last showcase? 2.5 years ago?
The last one they had was last year when they did the whole Concord Fair Games show.
Was that
they were labeling that as a showcase. Yeah.
Okay, yes, it was. It was May 2023. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that was a showcase. Right. And that was the one that we all were like, whoa, what the fuck happened here? This is bad, right? That's right. There was like nothing exciting. The whole PlayStation fan base was like, that sucked ass, and they were in tears and crying watching that thing as their favorite brand kind of dismantled before their eyes. And then they all forgot about it.
Of course, because that's right. They had Spider-Man 2 look. They had Metal Gear Solid after we had already seen it at the Xbox show. And then they had Marathon, the first tease of Marathon.
Yeah.
Then they had Assassin's Creed Mirage. Then they had Resident Evil 4 VR. And
you had Concord and Fair Games.
Concord, Fair Games. Yep, that was it.
Yeah, and Baby Steps led the show.
Oh, I forgot about Baby Steps.
Baby Steps, right? So at the showcase, to start the show, they started with Baby Steps.
Baby Steps, yeah.
That was what was the most crazy thing. But you know what's really annoying to me, Pong?
What
is the narratives and how they shift sometimes in the moving of the goalposts, right?
Oh yeah.
Because we look at this, and we even got like PlayStation like diehards in the chat that always say this stuff. Because I was going through the purpose was because I was going through what used to matter to this fan base, right? Ultimately, which was the Sony published first party, top tier. You know, the studios that make these games that nobody else can make, that like really stand PlayStation apart, or what is it all about, which was what was told to us for an entire generation, right? And it was also still being used as marketing ploys by PlayStation this generation, even though they're not delivering on those games. So I was looking through the actual Sony published games, right? But the narratives have shifted so much now. It no longer matters at all if Sony actually makes their games. Now, all that matters if it's exclusive. But this is also the same people that were extremely pissed off when Xbox beforehand did a move for a game like Tomb Raider and paid for exclusivity on that. So beforehand, when Xbox was doing the same thing to try and fill in their pipeline when they were behind and they were slow on getting their first party games out, they were doing moves like this. It was boo-hooed. It was like, this is not good for anybody. This is bad for gaming. This is horrible. We can't be doing things like this. It doesn't help anybody. It only takes things away from people, right? Hey, yeah, like if you fund a game and all that stuff, it's cool, right? Second, if you're actually helping the studio create and all that kind of stuff, but you're talking about a game that's going to be for everybody, and all of a sudden it's not. And now it doesn't matter to those same people anymore. It doesn't matter. Instead, what matters is that the brand is stronger because we are taking games away from other people to use to fill in our lack of games to bolster our pipeline. And when we can't do enough deals like that, we're going to resell those same games to you that we sold and marketed that same vision for last generation. So we're not only doing what was supposedly shat on for a lot of people for a long time because it was deemed unacceptable because this company potentially was a big bad corporation like Microsoft doing something like this. Who would dare think that they should be allowed to do something like this? They should be creative, foster their own studios, create their own games. Why can't they do that? Why can't they actually go and invest in their own studios and grow them organically and develop their own IP and create these things? That's the way it should be done. That's the way everything should be done in gaming. That's the only way to truly make next generation great games that the fans deserve. Don't take things away from people. Oh no, that's bad. Hey, you know what? We've been doing it the right way here at PlayStation. We've been selling you game franchises like Horizon, God of War, Spider-Man, 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 and we're going to keep doing it till the wheels fucking fall off on this thing because guess what? We are creatively bankrupt ourselves. We can't figure out how to do our own fucking roadmap. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to go back on what we all said was bad, and we're going to go and take games away from those Xbox fuckers. You know, as all the narratives that said all these podcasters out there and all these people that said that Xbox doesn't know how to do shit. They don't know how to grow their own games. Guess what? We're going to go out there. We're not going to acquire them because we can't afford that shit. We're just going to give them a little bit of money. We're just going to give them a little bit of money. Make them exclusive over here at PlayStation. And guess what? That way, all these people in these podcast chats in the streets out there can say, oh, well, we got Final Fantasy 16. Oh, we got Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Oh, but we got Forspoken. Oh, but we got this. Oh, we got that. You're even losing that shit now. Let me tell you, you're losing all that shit now because even those companies that have been taking that money, taking those deals, said we can't do this anymore. We're killing ourselves. Why do we fall for this measly dollars that PlayStation's throwing our way and we can't even make profit on our own fucking games? Oh, instead now we got to put our games everywhere because guess what? That's actually what's good for gaming. That's what's good for us. That's what's good for the gamers. That's what's good for our brands. That's what's good for our IP. It's all right, PlayStation fans. You'll be okay without our exclusives. You can still play Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. Anyway, I'm done.
Freaking fantastic, bro. Little Mav rap for everybody. Congratulations, y'all got one tonight. A little bit. Yeah, no, I can't disagree with you, man. I mean, again, it's we've known the goalpost moving has been a thing forever, and it's never going to stop. It just won't. They don't care. They don't care about the hypocrisy. They don't care what they look like. They don't care if everybody knows they're fools, and they just continue to go on. Let's continue this conversation a little bit. Break down this Jor Raptor. Jor Raptor is actually pretty cool. Follow if you want to follow him. Does a lot of different things, but a content creator. He's got a ton of followers. Been around for a long time. But he posts out a lot of cool posts, and he's the one that put together kind of this list of the current projects that Sony does have. The list that they aren't talking about publicly to let everybody know their roadmap. So I just want to run through this list real quick, Matt. Again, we've done this with Xbox before. We created our own list. We went through this, but he has a pretty good one because, again, just like we said with Xbox, when everybody was saying Xbox got no games, Matt, we know for a fact that Sony devs aren't just sitting back painting their nails and taking phone calls all day. I mean, they're working. Like, they are making games, right? There are games coming. Now, the question is when.
When?
But there are games.
We want
right.
the showcase. We want the roadmap.
Yes.
That's what I want.
We want the roadmap. Right. But I'm just saying, overall, there are games being made at Sony first party. Okay? So they're eventually going to get on track. Right? And we will see this stuff come to fruition, just like we're starting to see it happen with Xbox. So this is his list. Now, I don't agree with kind of where he slotted all this stuff, but that really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Most of the stuff is pretty spot on.
I'm ready to get excited, Pong. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So we've got, underneath his announced games, he's got Marvel's Wolverine. Insomniac, of course. We got Fair Games.
When is that slated?
There's no dates. There's no dates here.
Oh,
okay. We don't have dates.
When was that rumored though? Was that rumored 2025? I forget.
2026. Which
Can't remember if it was 2025 or
it was
2026.
it was Venom, and then it was Wolverine. So 2026. I
Okay,
believe, is when
2026 is when
Yeah.
Wolverine. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
So the first one on the list is 2026.
Yeah, and then Fair Games, which we know is
Okay,
next
it's
year.
next year. Right.
Yep, and then Marathon, which
Right.
is sounding like they're gonna just push that sucker on out, Mav. We'll talk about that too. It sounds like we're just gonna
It's
try
not a
Concord
sprint.
all over again.
It's a marathon. It's okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna put that out there. Yeah.
Do you think
It's
it
gonna be
lasts? I mean, over under it lasts more than 2 weeks.
over?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just got to put it out there, you know. To
Yeah,
say if
as much damage has been done to Bungie,
yeah, it'll
they still carry weight. There will still be people that go play it.
100%. I agree with you. A marathon will be something that exists.
1000%. Confirmed games, but not revealed yet. Blue Points games, original game seemingly with a fantasy setting. New Horizon single player game from Guerrilla. Horizon online co-op game, which yes, that's still supposedly alive. Out of all the Herman Holst, remember Herman Holst was the head of Guerrilla. Herman Holst, that's his baby. That's why we get so much Horizon stuff. It's weird, it's strange, but Herman thinks Horizon's the best ever, bro.
Like, I don't know if we should count these, Pong, because before, whenever we would count all the projects that we knew were in development for Xbox, it didn't matter because they haven't been announced yet. So
yeah, but we're more fair. We counted them for Xbox, and we're going to count them here.
Okay.
Because again,
just making it clear that it's
fair.
Even playing field here. Right?
Yes, we are fair.
So we're
with
doing
shit because we are.
Yes, we're doing for PlayStation what they told us we can't do for Xbox. But to be fair, so
we don't care.
Remember this PlayStation only gamers.
We're gamers first.
We're treating you with the same respect that we do Xbox.
We are gamers first.
Right.
Period. Point blank.
100%.
All right. So, new open world IP inspired by Days Gone systems, potentially with multiplayer and live service elements from Bend. And yes, we did hear that they are actually working on a new IP, so that makes sense. Rumored Ghost of Tsushima sequel. It's the most obvious one of all of these, right? That's obviously happening. It's going to happen sooner than later because they've probably been working on it for about 4 years now. So Sucker Punch has got Ghost of Tsushima sequel, a new iteration of Ghost of Tsushima Legends from Sucker Punch. So he's separating the two in this to a multiplayer. God help them if they are thinking about
standalone Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer.
It better not be standalone, bro. It better not. We better not be going down the factions road with this shit.
Did that multiplayer mode take off? Did it
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yep. Failed miserably. So, Last of Us 3, Naughty Dog, makes sense. New IP from Naughty Dog. Yes, we've heard that. New God of War project. Of course, Santa Monica. Cory Barlog's new IP. Yep. We knew about that. New IP from Housemarque. Yes, we've heard about that.
That's a Returnal studio, right? Housemarque is the Returnal. Okay.
Yes.
Returnal's a good game.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to play it. I got to pick it up on PC. I really do want to play that game. Project Heartbreak, Fire Sprite's rumored horror game, could be Until Dawn 2. I didn't even know Fire Sprite was still making a horror game, but okay, we're going to roll with it. Project Heartbreak. Okay. Project Gummy Bears, potentially a MOBA-like title from Bungie's spin-off team.
I thought that one was rumored to be canceled.
I thought that was canceled too, but whatever. I mean, we'll allow it. It is what it is. Yep. Next Gran Turismo game, probably 8 years away. The way that Polyphony works.
Yeah, that'll be a ways away. That'll be a ways away, unless Fuzzy's rumor that he was saying about where there's some kind of like a free to play thing out there coming. Maybe. Yeah, he was talking about that on FSP the other day. That there's
like a 1.5. Is this gonna be like another half game?
I don't know. Like he said, so GT7 is one of the games that's getting PS5 Pro enhancements, right? And I was hoping maybe that they will do a PC version, right? But Fuzzy was also talking about that there was rumors swirling around that community about some kind of a free-to-play type thing with GT, like some other kind of GT thing. So we'll see. Maybe that could happen.
Yeah. Otherwise, Polyphony is so damn slow at making a game.
Yeah, they're the slowest, bro.
New IP from Media Molecule. Next to MLB The Show entry, of course. New AAA mobile live service action game from Neon Koi. So we're getting into mobile, right? Something from the X Deviation team. That's right. They did take part of them and make them part of the first party, didn't they? They started a new studio under Sony, I think, right? From Deviation.
I thought didn't they
Pretty
just
sure.
kind of fold them in to like?
Yeah, they
support-
folded them in, but they did keep a portion of them as a separate team, I believe. But we'll roll with
I
it.
don't know.
So, supposedly another Uncharted project from an unknown studio. Venom standalone title from Insomniac Games. Now, see, that's supposedly not a standalone. It's more of an expansion for Spider-Man 2.
Like a Miles Morales type situation.
Yes, like a Miles. I guess. Okay, we'll roll with it. That's fine. Marvel Spider-Man 3. Yep, which we knew. New Ratchet and Clank, which we knew. Marvel's X-Men, which we knew, and new IP from Insomniac Games. So he got all those last ones from the leak, obviously.
Yeah,
so those are all the leak. So that's everything. But again,
how many of those are actually announced? I'm just curious.
He's only got the 3: Marvel's Wolverine, Fair Games, and Marathon. And technically, it's true because we got the other ones from the leaks from Insomniac.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't. We know they're there, but no, they haven't been announced. But yeah, there's. Only 3.
Just to compare, like for shit's sake.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
I mean, we'll be able to add Horizon Zero Dawn remastered and Days Gone remastered to that.
Yes, we will. Yep, we will.
But just to be like, for comparison's sake, and the platform that a lot of people have been complaining about all generation, we have more games announced to finish out this year than they have announced. Period.
Mm-hmm.
We still have.
That's a fact.
Yeah, it's a fact. we have Ara coming this year. You have Indiana Jones coming this year. What was the other one that's still slated for this year? Call of Duty. Call of Duty.
And we got Flight Simulator 2024.
Flight Sim, right? And then you also have big expansions for which you could qualify like in the same vein of like as like a Venom, right? Like Shattered Space and Vessel of Hatred. You got big expansions there. Yep. And then you have Avowed for next year. You have South of Midnight, Fable, Doom: The Dark Ages, all slated for next year.
A small game.
30. I'm not going to count that one because it's not published by Microsoft.
That's true.
Right?
Towerborn.
Then you also have further off titles like Blade, and who knows when Contraband's coming out. You have State of Decay 3.
Oh, we have so many.
Perfect Dark. Games that we've actually seen some from, Clockwork Revolution.
Yep. Yes, we have a full roadmap. That's what I started by saying, Mav. Even when we weren't getting the first party titles, the thing was that Xbox was still having a showcase every year. We were still getting a roadmap, right? Yes, there was delays. Yes, things didn't work out always as expected, like Redfall, etc. But the facts are the facts. We still knew games were coming. Like, we knew what we were going to be looking forward to.
Outer Worlds 2. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, no. It's a fact. But that's the difference here. There's none of that outside of the 3 that are on this list, right? That's it. And 2 of them are games that the Sony community, the ones that are, the enthusiasts, the Sony only fans here, say just that's not their shtick. Like, that's not what they're looking forward to. They don't look forward to. They don't count fair games because it's not what they want. The single player. They don't want this multiplayer stuff. They don't want games as a service from Sony, and obviously Concord proved that. So, that's the difference. That's the big difference. We always had a list with Xbox. We always knew what was coming. Like I said, didn't always work out properly, but we knew it was coming. And now Sony's fans just have nothing. But it is still, it's a pretty good list. Shout out Joe Raptor for putting together. It is a pretty big list. They do have stuff coming down the pipeline eventually. When it's going to be at the end of this generation, are they going to roll with the Pro for another 4 years? Are they going to, again, according to all the leaks, it was 2028. We got word this week that the finalized deal with AMD for the PlayStation 6 is done. So that it's because of backwards compatibility, that they wanted AMD to stick with it. Supposedly Intel was in on it. Jez says Intel never had a shot. The first reports were that Intel actually did have a shot, but they couldn't work out profit margins. So Sony went back to AMD and took the AMD deal. So it sounds like PlayStation 6 is being made.
Yeah.
And the rumors were 2028 for PlayStation 6 at the earliest. With the PlayStation 5 Pro, are they going to roll longer, Mav? Is that part of the Pro strategy, is to keep PlayStation 5 viable for longer with the Pro, and to extend out this generation until they get the 6 together in 28, 29, maybe even. And then by then they'll be able to roll out, some of these games that they've got in the works right now. This, pretty sizable list will be out in the wild, or coming out in the next, 4 years. And then they can remaster all of those for PlayStation 6 again, right? And they can start off with enhancements for PlayStation 6 customers on some of those games, hopefully that are hits for them. Is that the strategy going forward, Matt? Is this a new strategy with remasters, remakes? That's the other thing to consider.
I don't know, man. I think what they're going to do is they're going to use the console as an excuse to release more things like that.
Yeah.
Right? And that justifies the extra cost of them doing it. The question I have is if there's going to be enough people to buy them for the amount of people that will actually own PS5 Pro to justify reselling labeled for that, right? Because if you're only having like PS4 Pro is 13% supposedly of the entire PS4 ownership. If PS5 Pro, I can anticipate it'll be even less probably because of the price. So if you have that, then it's like, okay, yeah, you're selling it and it's marketing but like you're only selling it to like maybe 10% of your potential user base plus PC owners, probably, because all those would probably, I would think, maybe get released on PC as well, right? So I don't know, maybe it would be just like a way to entice people maybe to get it, or something just to kind of have for marketing to fill in their shows, because I wouldn't imagine it would cost them that much, to do the upgrades. So I don't know what the cost justification is there, but ultimately it's something that when people upgrade next generation, even to the PS6, they'll have access to those versions probably and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't like it being used to fill in pipelines, right? No. Just for the sake of it, to kind of what my mindset is always like finding a way to like reset the price on something that has gotten to a lower price point because nobody buys it anymore. Yeah. So the only people that do ever buy them is when they're on ridiculous low sales price, a really low sale price and stuff. So they can like, hey, we'll work this and sell it again for $50 or $60 and get a kind of a boost in sales and kind of just put minimal effort into doing some slight enhancements on it. And that might be their justification. I just don't think it's like what the fans look forward to. And I don't think that justifies the existence of a pro console in itself. I think what would justify it more is if they actually have some badass new games to show and announce for it. Right? So, like, but that's what's been missing.
Normal way to sell new hardware.
But that's just like, what's been missing. It's just so weird, right? It is. Like, imagine the Switch 2 gets announced, right? And I'm not saying this is the next generation for PlayStation. Obviously it's not. But even if you go back to last gen, PS4 Pro and Xbox One X, they had like a lot of games to kind of like showcase with these things and how they're going to be enhanced, and like new games are going to take advantage of it and stuff. We haven't seen any of that. And maybe this third-party show that they have later this year is going to have some of that with the third-party stuff. But still, like, you want to have that like exciting first-party things to be like, wow, this is really going to take advantage of it. Beforehand, we had that with Xbox. We had that with PlayStation, and right now we just don't for PlayStation. Xbox decided to forgo the mid-gen refresh supposedly. So, but yeah, it's just kind of put like for me, it's put like a microscope on the generation looking back, and seeing they keep doing this, and I think it puts things even more clearly in perspective based on the way this whole thing has gone. I know obviously PlayStation's done way better in hardware sales, but games wise, Right now I would honestly give the edge to Xbox for this entire generation. And that may sound crazy to some, right? But they've been the same kind of things that PlayStation's been selling to fill in their pipeline, Xbox has been doing for free. Right? I've been giving free content. They've given us just fucking like games into Game Pass that are remasters, like just instantly for free on old games, like Quake and Doom and stuff. Like if you have a Game Pass subscription, it's just there. Like, and they did that as a surprise. And if you do decide to buy it, was like $20 or something for like 3 Doom games, or I can't remember all of them that were in there, but it just puts perspective, like the value as a consumer that Xbox with the pipeline, roadmap, and everything, this entire generation has not been getting the credit. PlayStation has been doing a better job with marketing and mind fucking people to where they've had one really good year in 2022. And the rest has been like maybe 1 game, 2 games, and then you have remasters and remakes and stuff like that. But even like before I went through like PlayStation's actual published games, right, from 2020 to now, and I was just looking through Xbox. It's just like so much more.
Oh yeah,
it is like it is a lot more. Like it's Sony Interactive Entertainment versus Xbox Game Studios Publishing. It is a drastic difference in the amount of games. And I don't understand how they just get easily dismissed. And you know what it is? It's games like Age of Mythology Retold and things like that, or like some of these other games like Age of Empires 4 that come out, or Gears Tactics that's come out, or like other games that just completely get ignored and dismissed. You know, like they just completely get ignored and dismissed. Like games like Battletoads, right? Nobody talks about that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun game, a great game when it came out. You know, Psychonauts 2. The only reason anybody ever mentions Psychonauts 2 anymore is because of Astrobot now. It got brought back up in the conversation, but people just completely were like, hey, yeah, that was a thing. Like, it's just like they get dismissed. And not only that, but not only do they have a lot more games that has been published this generation, but they also have the games that have been ongoing, that have been getting updates for years and years and keep going and keep going and keep going with free updates and free and games that like this games as a service kind of thing where, you know, some people consider them kind of black hole games, but like people are still playing these games. And for some reason, it's just like this whole idea about Xbox has been in trouble and Xbox has been in trouble and stuff. But then PlayStation is doing the right things the right way. But then you see shit like this, the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster and Days Gone remaster, when those games are completely fine. Like it just, that kind of shit just annoys me, man. Like it really does. And the same people that shit talk all this other side all this time just see this, accept the fact that they have zero fucking actual roadmap announced for the future of a platform from their first party publishing, and say that it's better than anything else out there. Nintendo kicks its ass with old ass hardware as far as output on first party games. Xbox dominates as far as output on first party games.
It's quality, not quantity, as they will say, Math.
Okay.
That's I mean, that's where we're at. Like they really have become irrelevant though, Math, because everybody understands the hypocrisy at this point, right? It's kind of like the journalists. Whenever the journalists do their thing now, everybody just automatically dismisses them because it's so blatant. It has been so blatant for so long that there's no even like, well, maybe they meant this, or well, you could see it from this side. It's just like, no, you guys are just fucking stupid. You guys are clowns.
Yeah.
Like, it's over with. It's done. That's the great part, is they've overplayed their hand too many times now. And most people outside of just obviously that group and their fans just look at them and laugh because it is a joke now. It means nothing anymore. Again, everything's changed so much this generation. It's like it's black and white compared to it's the complete opposite of how we thought things were going to go in a lot of ways, but yet it's exactly what a lot of the stuff we talked about early on we thought was going to be the future. We just didn't know it was going to be this near future. And so that changed all those conversations because the consoles are no longer the priority for Xbox. Like they just aren't the priority, right? And even PlayStation, as much as they say it's still our core business model, they are showing signs with things like this, with no roadmap, that are stating that it's not necessarily that true anymore, right? And that it's not all about that they need to expand elsewhere, and that's what they're really trying to do. And they've lost focus from their core console base too, right? That they aren't putting out what, like you were talking about, Mav, what they used to. That they don't even have a freaking roadmap in place, like we've been saying all show, to say to their main customers, hey, this is your hopes and dreams that we gave you last gen. This is your hopes and dreams for this gen. They haven't even done that. We are 4 years in to this generation. 4 years in.
Yep.
And they're introducing a $700 console they're trying to sell to their core fan base without any first-party game showing it off. Okay? That's not what we're used to. And that is different from any other time when we're talking about Sony. When Sony came out with the PlayStation 3 and it was overpriced because of the cell processor and they thought they could get away with it because of the ego, they still had first-party games that they were showing off. Right? Third parties couldn't get their games to run on the damn cell processor, but Sony was definitely out here touting the cell processor and showing that shit off. And it wasn't remasters, and it wasn't remakes. It was new IP. It was new games. That's what you generally do with consoles. It doesn't matter if it's a mid-gen. It doesn't, I don't care about mid-gen, or I don't care about brand new, generation when you're starting a generation. Your hardware, if it is more powerful than what you are currently selling, and you are trying to tout that hardware, and you're trying to tout all those buzzwords that Cerny had in his, actual production, right? When we just talking about all this technical stuff, you have to back that up. And normally it's your first party who's going to take advantage. Again, I thought for sure, Mav, I was talking about this earlier this year. The Pro was going to come, and we were going to have a Hopes and Dreams showcase right away. And they were going to show off Wolverine. They were going to show off Ghost of Tsushima 2, as they purport that it's going to be looking like on the PlayStation 5 Pro. I thought that was a slam dunk, home run, easiest, most common sense thing ever. Even an Astrobot Pro, PlayStation 5 Pro version. There's not. There's nothing. So, what is this? Where are we going? Is console really your core base still, Sony? Is that the case? Or is it the fact that you're saying that because obviously you've got a pretty strong fan base that believes you and loves your consoles, but do you have your eyes elsewhere now that Hiroki Totoki is in charge? Is he looking elsewhere and going, we really need to get in that PC space more. We really need to get our mobile
because we
going.
Suck at business.
You guys suck at business, and you put me in a hole. And I got to get myself out of this hole because corporate's over my shoulder. Because I'm the CFO of Sony as well, and I got pride on the line. So I don't know, man. I don't know, but it is different. It's a different Sony. Yeah. It's a different generation. It's a different business now than anything we've ever experienced before. So all bets are off at this point.
In 2020 alone, as far as Xbox owners, we got free upgrade enhancements for Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, which they could have easily packaged that and sold it as like as something, right? Gears Tactics had finally also hit on in that year. And let's see, Ori Will of the Wisp got a free update. Sea of Thieves got a free update. Master Chief Collection got a free update. State of Decay 2 got a massive free update. And that's just in 2020 in the free updates, and that doesn't even include most of the actual releases. We also got Flight Sim that year. We got Battletoads that year. Tell Me Why was actually published by Xbox Game Studios. We had Age 3 Definitive Edition on PC. You had let's see. I think that was most of the. Let's see. You had Wasteland Remastered. Age 2 Definitive Edition had come out November of 2019 on PC. Later came to console. But yeah, I mean, just overall, like, I was looking through all these games. You had Bleeding Edge actually hit that in 2020 also, which is still active. You can still play it today, even though it was marked as a huge failure. Minecraft Dungeons came out that year. Bard's Tale remastered and resnarkled came out that year.
True. It's true.
It was just like there was a lot of games that year actually, and a lot of free updates that year. And that was obviously free updates because that was the year the console came out. But they decided to give a bunch of them to, hey, here, all these updates for free for your console, right? On these games that are like you're playing still. With actual next generation, like this gen kind of enhancements. Then 2021 they had Psychonauts 2, Age 4, Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, and then As Dusk Falls for 2022. Grounded 2022, Age of Empires 4 came out anniversary edition, which I don't know what the difference between that was. Pentiment. Then you had 2023 Age 2 Definitive Edition on console, Minecraft Legends Age 4 on console, Forza Motorsport, Killer Instinct Anniversary Edition, Pentiment, Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, Victors and Vanquish expansion. Right, Grounded came out to other platforms. Sea of Thieves came out to other platforms. Hellblade 2, Age of Mythology Retold, Ara History Untold's coming. Flight Sim 2024 is coming. Towerborn is on PC, kind of on Steam. I don't know if I have a hard time counting that one
early release
for this year.
I do.
2025 is stacked with big titles, but just overall it's just like release after release after release, and a lot of these are well received, high quality titles. They just don't get credit for the genres that they're in, I think, more so than anything.
That's always been the argument, right? That's again why only certain things are counted and certain things aren't, because again, when you run down that list map,
and that doesn't include ZeniMax, Bethesda, or also Activision Blizzard also now. Like, I'm just putting respect to that. That's like just the Xbox Game Studio Publishing side without those other like added in there.
Yeah. And when you run down that list map, see, to me personally as a gamer, right, this has always been my argument, and why people don't understand that just because they enjoy a certain set of games that not everybody does, or not everybody looks at them the same way with the same value, is always crazy to me. And that's the biggest problem with the PlayStation side. They always look over at the Xbox side. They always say, you guys got nothing to play. Xbox puts out shit games. And because they just look at the scores, or they don't credit Xbox for the genres that they don't personally like. And that's the thing that always bothers me, because you read that list, Mav, and it's like,
dream games for you.
Yeah, that's exactly why I chose Xbox this generation. Like, that's and why I don't have a PlayStation, because you read the PlayStation list, and yeah, there's a couple hits here and there that I'm interested in playing, but overall, they have nowhere near the amount of games that are like must plays for me that Xbox has, where I'm like, frick yeah, man. Like, that's exactly what
and that's what 100%, like when people were like, well, why do you play on Xbox, or why did you still play on Xbox One, or like, why are you still going to play on Xbox going forward? And it's like, because they make the games I like, and those are the ones I care the most about playing, you know what I mean? And like, even when people were perceiving them as like down, I'm like, well, they actually have great games. You're just not counting the genre as like a game for some reason. You're just like, you just don't like, and that's why I like was freaking out before with, you know, it's not about Astrobot specifically. No. It's just that games media tends to like only celebrate certain genres, right?
Yes.
And like, we had just had a great game come out and hit Game Pass day and date, launched, had good reviews. The player base that's playing it has a lot of players concurrently, and it was successful, but literally nobody was talking about it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just like the disparity there is just kind of crazy to me. um, with only certain genres being accepted as something that is important for a platform, right?
Correct.
And that's really bullshit. And the same thing, like, I wish PlayStation had those kind of games.
Yeah.
I would be more enticed. And guess what? Who's going to be providing them in the forward going to PlayStation? It's going to be Xbox.
Right. And again, that will always be my argument. Like, people say, well, what do you want from Sony? I want them to do what they used to do. And people say, well, that's rose-tinted glasses. But I'm going, no, if PlayStation came out with a Hopes and Dreams showcase, let's say December, and let's say with the stuff that we talked about, that was there. But let's say they also came out and said, oh, by the way, we're reviving Killzone.
Mm-hmm.
And we're bringing back SOCOM. And, oh, by the way, we got a new Twisted Metal coming. That was canceled, but we brought it back. Twisted Metal's coming. Bro, I'd be like, okay, now you guys are starting to speak my language. Now we're back to, okay, I might need to get a PlayStation 5. Like, I might need to come back over again if you start announcing this stuff. And I know it's not the same for everybody, right? It's not the same list for everybody, but I'm saying, like, it's not to the point where Sony's so far gone that I couldn't, come back and say, no, I do really need their hardware. I do really want to play these games day and date. They have opportunities. They're just not doing any of it. And again, that is personal for me. But the fact that people don't understand that is a thing, like, abso-freaking-lutely it is. Where's your Western RPG, right? If it comes out, right, that Sony, that Cory Barlog's team
Horizon,
is working
man.
on.
They consider that RPG. Jesus, come on, man.
Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is
the
RPG.
They say it is. They say.
But let's say Naughty Dog, or let's say Cory Barlog's team, both working on new IPs, right? Let's say one of those two come out with a Western RPG, right? Open world Western RPG in the vein of, and I'm not saying have to even be like as big or as great as, Starfield or Cyberpunk. Let's say one of those two teams starts making a Western RPG. You're going to have my attention, right? You're going to have my attention. But that's what I'm saying. That side doesn't have those style of games. And over here, you can say, well, chances are there's still going to be, new Elder Scrolls will probably go third, will probably be everywhere, etc. Yeah, but I get them on Game Pass. I get it all on Game Pass. And Starfield still isn't announced. And I got it on Game Pass. So that's where the benefit comes in. But that's the crazy part. Sony could do things that actually would win me back over to pick up a piece of their hardware to play their games day and date. It's not like they're so far gone that they can't. It's just that they're not. They don't have any intention. But this is stuff that it's not just stuff that I've only been clamoring for. There's a whole group of Sony fans that have been clamoring for the same stuff. I don't know how many times I've heard SOCOM in conversations with Sony only fans. Like, yes. I don't know how many times I've heard Twisted Metal. And again, maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but my God, give it a shot. Give it a shot, Sony, and see what happens. Shit, man. You guys have so much IP in the back catalog. Siphon Filter, bring back Siphon Filter. Modernize it. Bring it up to date. Jesus, man. You'll have me excited as all hell. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is.
100%, man. I'm starting to see, like, more fans, like, start... I was asking you before if you saw that Skeletor thing, the video or whatever, that was making the rounds about the PS5 Pro announcement. But it's funny and all, but, like, in general, like, you're from just people that aren't really into the whole, like, console war, like, back and forth thing. You're starting to see more of that kind of conversation and that kind of thing being targeted towards Sony. Right? People that on the outside of this whole thing are starting to notice this shift from them, right? And notice this, like, lack of big, exciting new games, lack of a new IP, lack of things, and more so just focusing on reselling the same games over and over again. And, like, the PS5 Pro announcement was showcased mainly with enhancing old PS4 games for the most part, and games that were a few years old at least, or cross-generational games, and getting potential upgrades or enhancements for those and stuff like that. And, like, it being used for that and having like afterwards coming out having even just a relatively small list only of games that are officially going to be announced that are enhanced was just a really weird way, and I think it didn't resonate with that fan base whatsoever. You're gonna have some that are, like I said, are just gonna be all in because you're all in on the ecosystem. It is what it is. You're just going to always want to invest and play the games the best way you can. And for anybody being day and date on that, that's cool, right? But it brought attention that I think Sony doesn't like. And I think they're starting to maybe realize this. We'll see if it has a negative impact on them at all. So far, they've been like almost like bulletproof as far as like their brand identity with their like hardware and stuff like that. But we've seen before how sometimes this all it takes is just one thing start to go happen, and then you can have this just massive downward spiral, right? For Xbox, it had kind of set the table before, and it was the whole DRM thing, and it was the whole Connect and TV, and this is how you share games, and that whole time period, it's just like everything just went boop, and it's crazy how much just a moment in time can cause damage to a brand and an identity, and accelerate and change people's mindset on other things. And next year is going to be extremely interesting, right? Because next year, I think specifically, is a year where Xbox has the most big games lined up, right? Mm-hmm. And you have everything hitting a subscription day and date. You have all these other kind of things. And then meanwhile, we still have no roadmap for PlayStation for next year. They're going to be selling a very expensive console that a lot of people are not super happy with the price. They're not super happy with the options that it comes with, right? So I think PlayStation really needs to have some kind of announcement for something good next year. And maybe it's going to be more money having, maybe it's going to be more third-party deals, maybe it's going to be more things like that. I don't know, but like the conversation can shift just shortly, like in a very small amount of time, and cause swings, right? So 2022 was that for Xbox and PlayStation. Remember, Xbox had been gaining momentum 2020 and 2021. People are excited for the roadmap. 2022, they failed to deliver. They had a failure of a game in Redfall. Then they also had less games than PlayStation who actually hit on those big three that I mentioned before, right? Mm-hmm. So that caused a huge attention shift, sway. It brought the narrative back into play where everybody was like, oh, yeah, see, Xbox sucks and PlayStation's great. And it kind of ruined the momentum that Xbox had been building. But even with 2023, PlayStation only having the one game, nobody cared.
Nope.
Right? Nobody cared. And then 2024, this year, they have. I would say PlayStation had a better, more decent year than I thought they would, but still, comparatively to the output that Xbox has, it's like pretty drastic. And and then you have nobody really talking about that. Instead, it's just celebrate the one thing because of a Metascore, right? Yeah, so we'll see what happens next year, man. It's gonna be a very interesting year. Also, this will be the year where there's even more conversation about Xbox third party as some of those titles continue to hit PlayStation later after release. We'll see how that continues to shift. We're also going to have more hardware announcements. The Switch 2 is going to get involved in there. We'll see what Xbox eventually announces if they do have any for other announcements to have relatively soon. So yeah, the industry is kind of like really strange right now. I think it's in a weird place. Even though it's not a negative place necessarily.
No.
But it's in a weird place. We're in this like transitionary kind of like era right now, and everything's kind of discombobulated and like I don't know. It's just
and the Switch 2 could turn everybody on their head too. The Switch 2 could come out and really change the whole talk as well.
Yeah,
like.
Oh, we gotta get to some super chats. I think we're gonna get it. Let's get into. We want to get into the Switch 2 conversation here in a little bit.
Oh well, we can a little bit. Yeah, we can certainly do that for sure. I mean, we've spent so much time on this one. But yeah, you got to catch up on super chats. By the way, two people, I totally forgot. Wargroove 2 for your turn-based tactics people out there. Wargroove 2 just dropped into Game Pass. That came out Switch in 2023. It's got an 85 meta. This is like a good game. I played the first Wargroove. So, yeah, go check out Wargroove 2. No risk. It's in Game Pass right now. 85 Metacritic, just a little
A
turn-based,
turn-based
tactic
tactics
game.
game?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How could I not heard of this game?
You probably played the first one.
I have a horrible memory, so.
Yeah, because the first one was also in Game Pass as well for a bit. Think of it as Advance Wars.
Okay.
That style. Yep. So Advance Wars is probably your best 1-for-1 on it. Same kind of style setup where you got go attack and they got the screen and it's got the back and forth with all your yeah.
Okay.
But 85 meta from Switch.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, sure. All right. So earlier, Jax82 hit us with a $5 super chat. Says, "What's so is they have the studios to give us first party games. You telling me Insomniac is their only studio that can deliver that? No way. Well, like even at Insomniac has a pipeline because it was leaked, right?
Yes.
That's the only studio that's delivered in a relatively routine fashion. I think the part of that is like because of the expansions that they have for their games, the planned expansions, and then the remasters. Because if you really think about output, if it wasn't for the expansions and the remasters, you'd have just had Spider-Man 2018, then you had Spider-Man 2 this year. Or was it last year? So that's a 5-year output, right? Gap, which is pretty standard, pretty normal. So it seems like because they're having these remasters and these other things, it's kind of kept them on everybody's minds more, right? And the expansions. But remember, like Miles Morales was like originally supposed to be like DLC, as expanded upon and released. So I think, is there another game Ratchet and Clank?
Right.
Yeah, that's the other one. So, yeah, I mean that adding in there, they've had 3 games in 5 years with an expansion that adds to like 3.5. It's not bad. It's pretty good.
No.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Sure. We'll see what they do going forward. I know that the Spider-Man and that whole Marvel thing is kind of taken over their studio for the most part. It seems like maybe they'll have some more Ratchet stuff coming up, but yeah, ultimately I think we saw from the leaks, we saw all the information there. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in the future with Insomniac. But it is also crazy that we have seen so little from all the other studios, at least even in announcements. Like the announcements has been like what's crazy to me. So anyway, Jax82 also hit us with a $5. Says, "I'm done with the remakes and remasters. PlayStation used to deliver more than that. Uncharted, Last of Us now, Horizon. Make new content we've never seen." Yeah, or bring back some old classic content that we're all missing. Or deliver on the sequels that everybody's asking for.
Right. Yep.
Lotus Esprit hit us with a $10. Says, "I know why the PS5 Pro is 800 euro. Now they can charge 1,000 euro for the 30th edition consoles. Yeah. I will not be supporting any of these products. It is not fair for the average consumer. Ridiculous." Yeah, do you see the gray PlayStation 5 Pro?
Yep. That's what I was talking about. It's going to be, I love it. I think it's cool as hell. Again, this is something that Xbox fans have been clamoring for Xbox to do. They've missed opportunity after opportunity to make limited edition consoles. They should. They would sell. There's a whole market of whale collectors out here, okay?
Yeah.
On top of the scalpers. Now, the scalpers, this is going to be a shit show with 12,300 available. All right, this is going to be nuts. I don't know how they're going to protect this, but Sony better come up with some way to actually get these into actual consumer hands. Because if they allow the scalpers to come in and eat this up, you are going to be, and I've seen people in the chat already discussing it, and that's what I said at the beginning of the show, this will be a $3,000 plus collector's item. Easy, okay? Easy. With this limited a number, the Pro version will probably go for 3,000 plus, right? The regular PS5 version, I could see a couple grand plus. This is going to be eaten up. This is dope. And again, people can sit back and go, oh, it's just great. It's just got the PlayStation, the old logo on it. That's all you guys care about. Listen, it's the way collectors work, man. Okay? Listen, when I see that, I think PlayStation 1. Okay? When I see that, it's a great celebration of the 30th anniversary. I'm not going to take that away from Sony. I think it's amazing. I think it's a great job. And I love it. But yeah, that is going to be one expensive machine. I just hope Sony gets it into actual fans' hands and not into the scalpers' hands. It's already going to be eBay's is already nuts. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
See what happens with it, man.
Yeah.
Brandon Martin with the $2 super chat says, I'm playing the original Resident Evil 2 on COG. I mean, you mean on GOG?
GOG, I'm sure.
Yeah, it said COG.
Yeah, you probably meant GOG.
Yeah, GOG. Right on, Brandon. Yeah, I had a Steam Deck for a while, and I was playing Resident Evil 2 Remake on it. Look, Capcom knows how to do their remakes. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Dead Rising remake just came out. I know a lot of people are excited in getting that. I'm gonna wait for sale and get it like later when it's cheap, but it is one that I have my eyes on, for sure. But yeah, man, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, that whole franchise, they've just done better with the whole remakes thing than anybody because they've actually remade their games and their older games. So I love that. Right? That's what we should ask for. Could you imagine if like PlayStation even had like Siphon Filter remake or something, or like even that, like that kind of stuff, and really like bring it to current day standards, and with that kind of attention that like because Resident Evil, they had to deal with all the tank controls and all this other kind of stuff, like they had to do a lot. They had to remake these games from scratch pretty much.
Yep.
Like that's what we should be asking for. Oh, by the way, speaking of remakes, Pong. Before we move on, there's a game that had announced a remake that we haven't seen anything from for a couple years now, and that's Splinter Cell. Game that we want to come back. Did you see the trailer for the Netflix show just hit?
I posted it in our DMs everywhere.
Oh.
And I was just about to bring it up and tell you that when you get an opportunity, if you see, I posted it about an hour ago to our DMs. Yes.
Did you see who's doing the voice?
Yes, that's what I was going to tell you. It's Liev Schreiber, for anybody who doesn't want to know. And actually listening to it, Mav, okay, it's not Ironside.
Right.
But it's not bad. It actually sounds pretty damn good, and he's a great actor. If they get him for the new game, for the reboot, and not Ironside, I'm down. Just from listening to this one clip in here, I could see it. I can hear it, and I can feel it. It's pretty fucking good. So yeah, anybody who doesn't know, we actually a couple Netflix shows just got first looks. So this one is Splinter Cell Death Watch, it's called. And actually, the Devil May Cry Netflix series anime just got its first look too, and that's looking spectacular. I took a quick glance at that trailer. That's also looking spectacular. So yeah, but the Splinter Cell one with Liev Schreiber, I'm into. I'm good.
Oh, Brandon Martin with the $2 super chat says he's not playing the remakes. He's playing the PS1 version for Resident Evil.
Oh,
nice, dude. Nice. A lot of people
even better.
Yeah, I like those. I like the old school survival horror games like that.
Of course. Let me see here. All right, Mav. Let's. I don't have a whole lot of time left here before.
Yeah.
So let's get into. Let's get into why Nintendo is also a shitty company. So we're going to talk about this real quick. Again, anybody out here that is complaining about big corporations, and specifically in this industry, and you want to complain about Microsoft Xbox, you want to complain about Sony and PlayStation, right? But for some reason, good guy Nintendo always gets left out, even though Nintendo treats their consumers like shit. They go after the creators who are worshiping them and get their channel shut down for the minor infractions. All this stuff that has been ignored outside of a few rumblings here and there. charging you full price for old games, never putting their stuff on sale, all this anti-consumer, anti-fandom that Nintendo has that people just like to sweep underneath the rug. Nintendo drones will attack you nonstop if you ever bring up any of this stuff, selling you 8-year-old tech as if it's the greatest shit in the world and telling you better like it because this is what you're going to get. It's just insanity to me. Okay, it's one of the reasons why I outgrew Nintendo a long time ago. Now, again, I've said the Switch 2 has my ears perked because they are making a leap, because it has been, smoke is swirling, that's backwards compatible. I said they may get me, okay, when they announce the Switch 2. They may get me back as a customer after decades of being gone. But today, Mav?
Yeah.
Today, again... And nobody should be defending this shit at all. Nobody. When you find out, when you hear what it concerns, nobody should be defending this because this could cause massive issues throughout the games industry. Okay? If this goes through and Nintendo wins, this could cause massive issues. So I'll explain. It was today announced that Nintendo is suing Palworld creators. Okay? What's the name of the dev team? I can't think of.
Pocket Pair?
Pocket Pair. Thank you. Pocket Pair, yes. They are suing Pocket Pair. And I should have read that. Jen of Hatred. Shout out to Jen, Xbox 360. Great follow, by the way, too. Jen's awesome. She's a Diablo fan. And she tweeted out, if you're wondering why Nintendo are suing Pocket Pair for patent infringement and not copyright, this is an interesting snippet from Bloomberg. That's right, folks. So everybody thought originally when Palworld dropped, right? And the Nintendo drones were out instantaneously mad because somebody else dare make the Pokemon game that they were never given. And instead of blaming who they should be blaming, they turned their anger on Pocket Pair. It said, how dare you copy Pokemon? How dare you copy our beloved Pokemon and give them guns? And do all this cool shit with them. And they were out in force saying Nintendo's got to sue. Look at these character designs. Remember, we had people out there breaking down the character designs models. And Map, they were literally going, look at the lines.
Yeah.
These have been traced. This is a direct copy. This can't be allowed to happen to our beloved Pokemon. And so everybody was up in arms thinking that, of course, Nintendo was going to sue because Nintendo sues over everything. Again, why this is normal and why people think this is a good reputation that Nintendo has, I have no idea. And why they're not labeled like Microsoft and Xbox are and like Sony and PlayStation are with some of their bullshit, I have no idea. This is not normal and it's not cool, okay? Nintendo's sue happy. And again, they shut down small people. We're not talking they go after big people. They go after small content creators. They are bullshit, bro. Okay? So everybody thought that was going to happen. Nothing. Nintendo was quiet. Right? Nothing happened. We know what happened with Palworld. It blew the hell up. It's turned into this big thing. Sure, everybody can look at current players and say, oh, God, it's nowhere near what it used to be. That's how this world works. The fact that they're still holding 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 people some days is still amazing for this little team that never thought they were going to create something that blew up like this. And they're expanding the game. They just came out this week and announced that they're not going to do any kind of games as a service. Like they're not looking at that model anymore. They said it was discussed, but they've decided they're not going to do that model. So they're not even looking to monetize the hell out of their game or anything like that. So it's been cool, Mav. But today, Nintendo came out. And again, not for copyright, which would be the character models and that kind of stuff, but for patent infringement. If Jez came in and also quote tweeted Jen here and said, for people crying that Nintendo copied Pokemon's designs, it's not about the designs, which by the way, Pokemon has been ripping off from others for years anyway. The abuse of patents for game mechanics has wide-reaching consequences for all of gaming. If you support Nintendo here, you're not thinking clearly. Jez is spot on. What they are suing over when we say patent infringements is because Nintendo had the gall For all these years, this has been going on. They've been filing game mechanic patents. This has been widely known as well.
Mm-hmm.
They file game mechanic patents. So one of the mechanics that they filed for is capturing a monster in a world with an object. I'm not
And they're awarded this patent?
joking. They were awarded this patent, Mav. They have tons of these game mechanic patents out there. I'm not saying that the only devs to ever do it or publishers to do it. I don't know of any game mechanic specifically that PlayStation has patented or that Xbox has patented. I know devs and publishers have done it.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, we've got
WB
the biggest one.
Montreal.
Yeah, WB.
Yeah.
Yes.
With that whole,
yes.
Nemesis system.
Nemesis system, right. That was a very complex system. Nintendo patents this dumbest shit of all time. Okay? And obviously, Palworld is not the first video game to capture monsters with an object in game.
Oh,
either,
yeah.
by the way.
Tons of things.
Okay.
There's probably examples of things before Pokemon existed.
Correct. That's what Jez was saying too. Pokemon copied a lot from other things as well. So this is why this is shit. This is beyond shit. Okay, this is corporate greed at its finest. This is Nintendo legitimately looking to win a case that could do massive harm to our favorite hobby. And the hobby they supposedly love and are a big part of, obviously, in the history of this hobby. Again, I respect their place. I give them all the respect in the world, respect the hustle. I don't respect this fucking hustle at all.
No, yeah.
This is dangerous precedent here. All because a company took an idea and ran with it and did something that you guys chose not to do. And I know they don't own Pokemon, okay? But let's be real. They control fucking Pokemon franchise, at least in the video game section, obviously. And they do make decisions on what the game's going to be, obviously. They have chosen to make shitty ass versions of Pokemon for a long time now and not give the fans what they want. And because Pocket Pair came along and said, you know what? We're going to finally do what you guys wouldn't do. And we're just going to make this little game. And if a bunch of people enjoy it, cool. And it blew up. And now you're going to try to do some BS like this on a patent for a game mechanic that is simple as capturing a monster with an object. And I'm not joking. I'm not. Go look at the patent. That's what it is. It's the dumbest thing in the world, and it's a bad move on Nintendo's part. It is an awful move. And again, I don't care if you're the biggest Nintendrone in the entire world. It is time you call this out. Because this could potentially harm this industry completely. Because think about it. If they win, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Could you imagine if like every publisher or game creator or platform holder or whatever had patents that they enforced for every little game mechanic? Like imagine like Call of Duty holding a gun and shooting it. You know what I mean?
Reloading.
Like, reloading. Yeah, like Gears of War, active reload. You know, like cover, sliding into cover, or like, you know, like.
Yes.
I understand trying to protect your properties and stuff, but when there's just like basic concept of like simple things that are, you just can't really you shouldn't be able to enforce some of that stuff. You know what I mean? So like, I'm surprised they're actually awarded a patent for it in general. Like, you know, usually a patent I would think of is like for something that is a actual kind of invention, right? That nobody had ever thought of first. That you created and did all the hard work, and you want to make sure that, you know, nobody else can copy to do what you've done. But like capturing video game mechanics of is not something that should be like that, like whatsoever. Now, like, could you imagine like the world where nobody else is allowed to create anything specifically that's been created before with video games.
Correct. That's
That
the
would
problem.
be that would be fucking disastrous for everybody, and most of all, fuck the publishers and the platform holders and all that for us, the gamers.
Yep.
Like that would just suck ass, man. That would suck. Imagine the ability for somebody to not to see an idea and be like, wow, I was inspired by that. I want to see if I can make my own version or try and do something creative and take it in a different direction and take it further than ever before. Or like, imagine not being able to be inspired by things and create. Because you can't, because guess what? If you throw something at a monster and it's captured, it's fucking, you're going to get sued by a big bad Nintendo. Or whoever. Like, imagine not being able to fucking have a creative freedom to try and chase your visions for creating games. Like, inspiration and is a huge part of everything with media and entertainment. Like, imagine that you take that to any form of entertainment or medium. Like, if a movie, like, oh yeah, we had a monster in our movie, or a zombie. Like, imagine like Night of the Living Dead or something. Is like, hey, we have the patents on zombies. You know what I mean? Like, it just imagine not being able to be inspired and create new things based on the ideas of everything that came before.
Mm-hmm.
That eliminates creative freedom.
Yeah.
That eliminates the ability for people to push things forward and transform the mediums, and allows for things to remain stale and dull and controlled by only specific things that they want to shape the experiences that we have, and whatever they say goes, right?
Can you imagine if Bethesda patented persistent worlds?
Yeah, dude. The ability to pick up objects in an inventory system. Like, just God, imagine like if Final Fantasy had patented like ability points or whatever for RPGs or something like that. Like, it just, God, really? And maybe some of these companies have done some of this crazy shit. I don't know. But the only ones that we ever see is really going after these companies, or even the small creators or anything like that, is Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I love Nintendo games. I do. I really like Nintendo games, you know? But God, if they don't get the free pass all the time on the harm they cause to consumers for some of the practices and the moves that they do, it's just utter bullshit. They're championed as you know, hey, this is what gaming's all about. This is the model to follow. This is like, they're not changing. They're keeping things the way it's always been. They're champion for some of this stuff, but they're also the ones doing the most egregious shit you will see in video games, making by far the most profit off of hardware. Had not dropped pricing whatsoever for old hardware, selling games, never giving discounts on things, hardly ever, re-releasing games with minimal effort put into them for only months sometimes at a time to try and maximize the sales you can get for a short time because it's limited time only. You have $60 ports where nothing's really hardly done to some of these games. We talked about PlayStation's remasters and stuff. Fuck, man. Like, I'll be honest, like, if there's only one company that might be a little worse with some of that practices, and that's Nintendo, right? Yep. And I just gotta say, like, as consumers, sometimes we gotta call out the bullshit. Will I be excited for Switch 2 and see new games, especially if they come out with the features and stuff that I'm looking forward to on it? Yeah, and I'll probably get it, but like, shit like this got to be called out, man. Like, it really does. And I hope that other companies like Microsoft gets behind Pocket Pair in the situation, and it's like, hey, we want to help defend a case here, but we'll see. I don't know, man.
Crazy, bro. it's going to be crazy because, again, there's a lot of ramifications if this goes through. Again, I even have a problem with, as complex as a Nemesis system is. I've called that out because how great would it be to have the Nemesis system to be used in other games? Like, if they had done the right thing and put that out there so that people could draw inspiration from and use something like it to make their game. There's so many games that could have really benefited from a Nemesis system. We've talked about that. I know for a fact, Steele and I have talked about it too, that it would just be awesome if that was available. But it's something that complex, I can kind of understand, like a little bit. But again, something that's so stupid, like you said, Mav, you gave so many great examples. Can you imagine Imagine if Nintendo had patent, maybe they already have, hitting a monster and getting experience points, killing a monster and getting experience points. Like, that's how dumb this is.
Yeah.
Like, legit. Man, yeah, we can't have this, man. We can't have this. Like you said, it's going to kill innovation. And it's really, they're just going after a small indie company who just so happen to do something better than they've done themselves. Even though they've made billions and billions off Pokemon. Right, they've made so much money off Pokemon. It continues to be the most popular worldwide. Palworld is not going to take over Pokemon's place. Pokemon is just fine, but yet they got to go after them for something stupid like this, just because they had some success. I hate this shit, bro. Oh man, shitty ass companies. Oh man, oh man. Do you want to talk about Switch 2, Mav, any more than we already have?
We just touch on it. I'm just curious. Like you said, you think it's going to be $5.99.
Yep. I think it's.
Is that that's based? I kind of want to go through the specs real quick of what.
It's not based on specs. It's based on Nintendo. It's based on the leap that they're having, right? I think that they're going to squeeze even more profit out of this one than they do with the other one, and I think in order to do that, they got to be at $5.99. This is my personal take. So nothing. Because again, tech wise, I look at the stuff and like you said, Mav, in the DMs, it's foreign gibberish to me. Like until somebody tells me, and like I said, it was great that Okami said that docked, was up to a Series S, and undocked around a regular PlayStation 4. That gives me a better idea of what we're talking about.
Well, are you happy with that spec for the
It's
Switch
fine.
2?
Yeah, it's fine. But I do think if it's docked, listen, the only thing I was going to say about this is because there was speculation that Metroid gameplay was Switch 2 gameplay that we saw. If this thing is almost as powerful as the Series S docked, I got to start seeing the games, man. I got to start seeing games that actually look tons better than what that Metroid.
Yeah, at least last generation level, like Xbox One, PS4 level.
Yeah.
But I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 launched on the Xbox One and the PS4, right?
Right. I got to see Nintendo step up, but this is what we talked about too, man, when we talked about Switch 2, is this changes everything for Nintendo. This big of a leap, this increases all of their budgets because they can't, sure, there are games like Mario Wonder 2 that's going to come out, right, where you can get by with it because that's what it is. It's a platformer game. You can get by with that and say, no, that's what Mario Wonder is, so we don't really do a whole lot different just because we got more power. It's a platformer. It's Mario, okay? It can only look so damn good. But games like Zelda are going to have to take massive leaps, over what they've had. Like I don't care how popular, I don't care how many Nintendros want to tell me, oh, these are freaking fantastic games. These are some of the best GOAT games of all time. Nothing touches, not even Skyrim touches. No, we got Skyrim on the 360. Okay, I got to see Zelda step up, Mav. Right? Yeah. I got to see the next 3D Mario look freaking leaps and bounds better than the last 3D Mario we got. And again, not that I even care because I don't care about that, but I'm just saying, in general, like I need to see the performance jump here if this is the case. I can't see Nintendo charging $5.99 saying it's got all this power and then not using it and only having that power there so third parties can put their third party games on the platform. Right. No. Now, first party's got to take advantage.
I'll roll with I think it's probably $4.99 again. Yep. So just Okami's specs, I just want to kind of run through it because he said rumor and confirmed images of the Nintendo Switch 2 have popped up online. The alleged specs, handheld, right above PS4 before DLSS. So a DLSS is going, because it's NVIDIA and stuff, is going to inherently make these games be able to have better resolution or fidelity than like a PS4 and stuff like that, because technology's just gotten more advanced, right? So it's important to take that into account whenever these comparisons are here, right? But in handheld mode, right above PS4, docked mode between PS4 Pro and Series S. So not really a Series S level, but maybe more than like what a PS4 Pro was, right? Again, before DLSS, with more modern hardware than the former. So obviously, because of the hardware innovations and stuff, you hopefully see some, next gen or some kind of current modern day NVIDIA tech in that. So RAM would be slower than the PS5 and Series X and S in the speed department, but more capacity than the Series S. So it should have 10.5 to 11 gigabytes of RAM available to games, going by the Switch One's RAM allotment for its OS. Storage, UFS 3.1 max speed should be a hair under the Series X and S versus 2.4 gigabytes per second. So we're looking at 2.1 gigabytes per second versus 2.4. It's fine. I think the SSD on the Xboxes are great and super fast, and I've been really happy with that. So if it's around that same level, cool. Still plenty fast, if not maxed out. Lines up with what Digital Foundry and Nate Drake have heard about decompression techniques and fast load times of the BOTW tech demo, Breath of the Wild tech demo, respectively, for each source. Also, it says not only is the Switch 2 ARM based rather than x86, like the systems compared, it's also NVIDIA versus AMD. So I one curious thing I have, is that going to affect ports? Like being ARM based rather than x86, does that make it more complicated to port games over to it? Or any of that kind of stuff? Tech people, I'm looking for you guys to answer this. I don't know, but I always remember people talking about, oh, it's easy to move over, it's easy to work on, it's easy to blah, 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 because it's all x86 architecture. So my immediate thought process is, well, if this is different, it's ARM instead of x86, does that make it more complicated? I don't know. You tell me. Does that affect ports? Do they have to do more work to get it on a Switch 2 as opposed to just on a current gen hardware for Xbox and PlayStation? But there's also a lot of rumors that ARM next generation for Xbox and PlayStation are going to have some kind of ARM based stuff in there too. So I don't know. There also there are plenty of factors at play to where it's not an apples to apples comparison. Plus, the native tensor cores of the Switch 2 will allow for DLSS, letting the system punch above its weight. So the whole NVIDIA thing is going to be the most intriguing thing. Seeing how they're able to get the most power for the size. The images that leaked kind of look like a Switch for the most part. It looks a little bit more sleek, maybe. Other than that, it just looks like a fucking Switch, man. Like, so I don't think
people are saying no OLED.
Yeah, to save on cost. Yeah. Well, it's fitting with them. They will release the OLED version later.
Yes,
and
they will.
So
it's
I don't know.
Garbage, bro.
Maybe they'll have two versions at launch. Maybe they'll have a LED and an OLED version. Maybe the LED will be $499. Maybe the OLED will be $599. They don't got to really worry about having a lot of storage in the device itself, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see. I think something I've said a lot is that I've been happy with fidelity on games since last generation. I care mostly about performance and optimization. The Switch was like well beyond, like I didn't consider it a last gen device even, like as far as what it's able to produce visually and stuff for fidelity and graphics and performance. I just considered it, they were kind of handicapped with what the device was and able to get the most out of it to make the kind of games that they did. Third parties, especially even for Nintendo type games, struggled the most on the Switch, making games that had decent resolution and performance. And my biggest thing was in docked mode, playing on a big TV, unless you're playing like Mario or something like that, I've really struggled with the games that way this past generation. And it's kind of ruined the device for me, 100%.
Oh yeah.
They lost a lot of the features that were console friendly, like the Wii U had and the Wii had before, to make it more streamlined for the Switch OS, right? And so you lost a lot of the console features. Plus, also the games didn't really look, except for certain examples, that great on big TVs. So my most exciting thing is that the Switch 2 is probably going to make the games look good on modern displays, right? And that is what I'm hoping the most for. What I do hope is that the past ones are able to be brought forward, like the past games released for the Switch are able to be brought forward into like current, like standards a little bit with resolution, and stuff like that. But we'll have to wait and see, man. But we'll ultimately find out. It's going to be successful. But I am curious about the reaction if the Nintendo, from the Nintendo fan base, if it is like a $5.99 or announcement, because that's something that's going to be a little bit of a sticker shock for Nintendo, you know?
They'll eat it on up, Mav, just like they always do, bro. It's Nintendo. Again, these people bought cardboard with Nintendo stamped on it, okay? They will buy a new console at $5.99. They'll justify it in their heads. Oh man. Anyways, I am still excited about the Switch 2 as well. So I do want to hear more about it. I want to see it again. I'm going to have to see them step up. I'm not buying it to play third-party games. I got a PC and Xbox to do that. I'm not buying it to play Red Dead Redemption 2. Okay? I'm buying it because they've got some games. Now again, not Zelda and Mario, but they've got some games that I am interested in. And if it's backwards compatible, that'll give me a base of games that I can play on it while I'm waiting for some of those new titles to come out. So it is possible to get me. And I think DLSS, like Mav was talking about, will definitely make it viable for the big screen, which is the other thing, because I'm not going to play this thing a whole lot in handheld. I will be the opposite of most Switch owners. This thing will be docked. So if they're going to get me, there's some things that have to happen, but we will see. We will see. I am excited. And it's going to start a new conversation when they announce it. So it'll be fun, man.
Yeah.
I got one last topic that I want to get to, Mav. And I want to, that we can talk about that. I want to read the article on and you and I talk about here a little bit. I do want to hit a couple small things real quick, Mav, too. Do we have any super chats that you got to get to?
No, I think we're caught up. I do want to, this one thing.
Who blocked Nate Dogg?
Psycho did on accident, and I was trying to see if I could undo it, but it doesn't get, like, I don't see. It says only hide or put him in timeout, so I don't think he's still blocked.
He's back. I can see him now. He's back.
Okay. All right. Yes. Sorry. Psycho's got flashlight phone thumbs. I did want to respond to this. Shane G says, Mav, I think you sometimes get stuck thinking console share can really move. I'm sorry, 98% of PS or Xbox main are not leaving their entire libraries to go to the other one, hence Xbox selling PS games. I think there's room for a little bit, like, ultimately, but more so the perception and the growth of a brand and identity, not necessarily hardware, is going to shift too much. Like, I think Xbox, like Pong said numerous times, has to make something really compelling for the next generation hardware, for the actual hardware wise. But I think just more so in general, like the acceptance of what Xbox is, if for people, and understanding that and being kind of okay with it more so than anything, is kind of what I think can happen. Embraced more so than from a lot of the media and games media, which can lead people to, guess what, keep playing and celebrating the games that sometimes get shit on, but still do numbers. Like, a lot of these games are very successful and stuff, but the perception out there is that they're not, for some reason. Like, so, like, ultimately it's like a perception thing that can shift. And can that sell more hardware or not? I don't know. I used to think that overall the generation would be different because I saw the roadmap for Xbox and stuff, and I saw everything happening, but like ultimately it didn't pan out. It just really didn't pan out for as much of a potential shift as I thought they could have had for hardware. But going forward now, maybe there's some room for growth in hardware, but I think more so perception and people's like excitement for the product and the games and like everything they're delivering is more so what I'm talking about. And I think PlayStation can be damaged, not necessarily in like selling more Xboxes, but people just being less excited to buy new PlayStations. That's a very possible thing to happen. In any kind of market, any kind of industry, if you have some kind of lackluster excitement about a product, then it can affect your sales. It doesn't mean that people are going to switch or go to whatever. People might migrate to PC. People might migrate to this. People might migrate to that, or maybe they just don't migrate at all and just stay content with what they've been on. But we've seen that happen to even companies like Nintendo. People forget the Wii U was an utter failure.
Correct.
Utter epic failure. They rebounded with the Switch. The Wii was really successful. They lost momentum. Then they had an utter failure with the Wii U. Then they launched a new product and moved on, right? And now it's like, oh, Nintendo's never done wrong. Nintendo's never not been successful. Nintendo, like, it's just people have this like short-term memory thing to think that these brands are infallible. You know, and that's not true for any of them. You can even go to anything like cars. You can go to clothing brands and stuff. Like, you can have stuff that seems like on the top of the world, and all of a sudden, you know, it's like a bargain bin type, seen as the shitty type thing. You know, and it can be because companies make mistakes. It can be because of bad marketing. Could be because of bad products. Could be because of anything. So my only point is that if PlayStation continues to see certain trends and do certain things, public perception can shift. And when you start seeing casual audiences and stuff make fun of PlayStation, that is a shift in the mentality. And that's the kind of things that does damage overall.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think everybody's susceptible to some of that stuff, for sure.
Yeah.
You make mistakes, things happen. Again, PlayStation was coming out, PlayStation 2, domination of a generation. PlayStation 2 is considered
It's like
by many.
They
screwed up. They screwed up their entire generation with one announcement of the PS3.
Yeah.
Before anything even came out, before a game even dropped, the announcement screwed it up. Yep. Right? And we saw that with the Xbox 360
and the price
coming off the Xbox. Yep, and the price. That's what I'm saying. The price is with the announcement, right? That was the big ego push, and the cell processor almost bankrupted their entire company.
Get a second job.
Right. So, I mean, again, is it as easy as it was back in the day when people were all physical and you just went into GameStop or wherever and just sold off all your stuff, traded it in, and you could just move on over even halfway through a generation. You had the Super Nintendo like I did, and you said, screw this. I want a Genesis. I'm a Genesis. I love what Sega's doing. And I just traded into my Super Nintendo and all my games and got my Genesis and a bunch of games and just swapped. No, you're right. It's not as easy because digital libraries do matter. Did I give up my entire PlayStation digital library when I haven't bought a new PlayStation? Yeah, I have. Did I give up all my save files because I wasn't going to continue to subscribe for their saves? Yeah, I did. I've got over I can't remember my last count on PlayStation 4. I think I had almost 300 digital games.
Yeah.
On PlayStation. Those I have no way to access those right now. None.
Yeah. And do I hope that PlayStation fails if they start getting bad press and stop struggling a little bit more with sales and stuff? Do I hope they fail? No. What I hope is there's enough attention brought to some of these things, and the perception and the mind share starts shifting enough to cause them to do better for us, right? As consumers. That's what I think PlayStation fans should want. That's what I think Xbox fans have been more so towing the line of being critical and accepting, right? Like, whereas PlayStation and even mainstream media and games media and all these things are just so like, can do no wrong, right? And they'll shift the narratives to fit whatever fits the current status of the industry for them, right? And that was a whole narrative thing I was talking about before, you know, and how the goalposts move, and even from people in the chats and stuff, they move and they shift all the time. And whereas like some people, hey, you're not allowed to be critical of any of your favorite companies, right? Because you're being a fan, and you can only be a fan. But like I argue that if you should think of yourself as a consumer first, and when you see a company is doing more shit that you don't like and taking advantage of you, or things are not as positive or whatever, you can point to those things and say, hey, we should have better, right? And that's where PlayStation is more so for me right now, right? I
Yep.
sold my PlayStation 5 because of that. I have nothing to look forward to. I have literally nothing to look fucking forward to. That's why. That's one of the reasons I sold it. If I had been excited for a game coming out, I would have kept the damn thing.
Right.
Excited for anything, and it's because they haven't shown it to us.
Right.
Anyway,
Is Netflix having a big to do right now? Are they having some kind of showcase?
maybe is it like a Netflix games thing or like a Netflix?
No, it's like it's
movies.
shows. It's animes. It's like they just
They do a
got
thing
announced
like
too.
once a year where they kind of do like a bunch of announcements and stuff, kind of
They
like
just-
Disney does that too now.
Well, they just teased that they are doing more Cyberpunk. So
Oh, nice.
that
So
is-
Edge
that is a
Runners.
piece. It said- Yeah, it said return to Night City, more info coming soon. So yep. So it's happening. So for everybody who is big Edge Runner fans, it looks like we're getting more Cyberpunk. So that's cool too. Yeah, no, Mav, I agree with everything that you just said there. And again, it's not about a total shift anymore. It's just not the way things are going to work. But
Yeah.
you can eat away, you can gain mind share, and there is things that Xbox potentially could do that are very compelling next generation. That, as things change even further for Sony, could make it very interesting, and make people look and say, "Hey, is this something I
Yeah.
need to add to my?" home entertainment. Like, is this an add-on that I need?
It's going to be interesting. The thing I see more happening in the future is that people start to escape the whole console war mindset. And as that happens, then Xbox is in a hugely advantageous position for everything they've acquired. ABK, ZeniMax, Bethesda, hardware will still be a part of their ecosystem, and they will still continue to put their games on PC and also other places. But like as people move beyond that eventually, as consoles become just more and more just a part of everything and not the mainstay of everything, then I think you're gonna see the old mindset from a lot of the media and other people start to shift as well. But it just a lot of non-forward thinking people stuck in here and now that will move with the times, right?
Yeah.
We tend to look ahead a lot, Pong.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, like we tend to look ahead and try and like think about, because we're speculating on what the future holds and stuff, and a lot of that stuff we've been kind of more spot on with, and some we've been wrong about, but like ultimately like
speculation is
exactly. But like a lot of people is just like all that matters is what's happening today, and and that's fine. But like it's just not the mindset that I take. I always look forward to things.
Absolutely. We always do. And of course, as gamers, though, the here and now is what's important, right? And we've got more games than ever. That's why I don't understand the people in this industry.
But these are the games we were saying were coming.
Love it.
Right?
Yes.
So,
yes. Exactly.
Because we were excited about the future.
Yes. We're going to talk more about that too. Matt, I want to do a couple quick hitters, and then I got one last one for us, and I got to get us out of here because I do have to.
Yeah.
But real quick, you guys are going to hear me and Mav continue to push this. Again, Tokyo Extreme Racer, go wishlisted on Steam. Mav, they did you see the
I saw the
first
Skyline.
car model?
Yeah.
Bro, what do we talk about? Just give me updated cars.
Yeah.
Right?
I want the old school ones, the
models and with the old school models, right? But I'm just saying the updated actual graphics, it looks like they're doing all right in the car division. We'll see how it looks driving, but the first car model was the GTR V-Spec 2. Looking good, man. Looking good. If that's what it looks like in game, we're already on our way, Mav. I had to get that one out there.
Yeah.
Tom Henderson, to continue our PlayStation real quick, in Insider Gaming, shout out to Tom and Insider Gaming. Rumors have it that the PlayStation 6 has 2 socks in development that could be the handheld and the box, just like Xbox is doing. So 2 socks in development supposedly right now for PlayStation 6. We'll see how that lines up. Let me see what else I want to get to here. Oh, one of the other. So Lollipop Chainsaw. We were talking about remasters before. Some really good ones. Lollipop Chainsaw, Repop. Doing really good right now. Tons of people enjoying the hell out of it. New game mode for the modern audience, quote unquote, but also has the classic game with everything, no censorship whatsoever. Totally awesome, right? I'm picking that up. Shadows of the Damned is also another Suda 51. Just classic that not too many people played that needs to be played. Shadows of the Damned is coming out as well very soon here. I think next month, I want to say. Shadows of the Damned. And then, of course, Dead Rising, which Mav talked about a little bit earlier, and we talked about Dead Rising. A lot of people are going to enjoy that. I'm not buying it. I've got the original on PC now. Don't like Capcom self-censoring. I don't care if it's minute. I never agree with censoring, going back and censoring something nowadays just because. So I don't agree with it at all, but I know a lot of people are going to enjoy it. I'm happy for everybody that's getting to enjoy it. I'm not going to sit here and turn this into a soapbox moment or anything like that. I just don't agree with it. But Dead Rising is out there. It looks really good what they did with some of it, although I will say there's been some comparison shots of some other stuff where I'm like, really, Capcom? Really? This is the effort we're putting in? But the other one that I talked about at the beginning of the show real quick, everybody, I want to shout this one out. Now, the unfortunate part is this was a Sony first-party title. This was a Sony published title, originally on the PlayStation Vita. So this is not coming to Xbox. Sony is not publishing it this time. Bandai Namco is. Sony sold the IP back to Dimps, which is, yes, that's the name of a developer over in Japan. They've been around for a long ass time, but the part of the original crew that worked on this game is at Dimps, and they actually got the rights for the IP from Sony. Sony was an original investor in Dimps, so things get a little complicated. But Bandai Namco is the one that's going to be publishing this, but Freedom Wars is being remastered. And it's coming out on PC, it's coming out on PlayStation, and it's coming out on Switch. And again, this was a first-party Vita game. This is a freaking awesome game. If you like God Eater, if you ever played God Eater, it is a cross between God Eater and Monster Hunter. So if you know what I'm talking about, and that appeals to you, and you have a PlayStation, you have a Switch, or you have a PC, go check out Freedom Wars. The fact that this game was made 10 years ago, okay? It was one of the last Vita games. It was when Vita was on its last legs. This game has freaking got a great story. Basically, you're a prisoner who's trying to earn their freedom, but the prison sentences in this world are nuts. You've been sentenced to 1,000,000 years, and you're trying to work down that number. Okay, by going and doing these missions and helping protect humans against these huge ass monsters. And part of your day is spent in the cell, etc. The story is cool as hell. It is a great game. It was one of my favorite Vita games, like I said. The fact that they just announced this out of the blue and it's coming in January. The remaster is coming in January. Please go check out January 10th. Go check out Freedom Wars. I can't recommend it enough. They got weapons crafting. They've got all sorts of difficulty levels. They're going to introduce 4K resolution support. They're updating for high resolution textures, models, and interface. Listen, it's a cool ass game, man. That's all I'm going to say. I'm picking this up day one. I cannot believe we're getting Freedom Wars in freaking January of 2025. It is nuts. So I wanted to throw that out there. Matt, did you ever play Freedom Wars on Vita?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. Did you ever play God Eater?
No, I
1,
played
2, or 3.
No, I played I think my favorite Vita game was John d'Arc.
Oh, that's a great game. Great turn-based
game.
Yeah.
I love that game. I played I'm not a huge handheld gamer, right?
Yes, neither was I.
I still actually have my Vita around here somewhere.
Do you? I sold mine.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not a huge handheld gamer. I just I would use it actually for remote play.
Sure.
Some.
No, I get it.
But I did have some games that I really appreciated. I'm just trying to remember exactly what some of them were. But yeah, John d'Arc was the one that stands the most out to me. Was there a Twisted Metal on the Vita?
Yes. Was there? Yes, there was. I'm pretty damn sure there was. I don't know if I ever.
I don't know if I have memory of playing that or not. It's been a while, dude. It's been like
Yeah,
it's
no,
been
it's freaking
a long
amazing.
time.
I played more Freedom Wars on actually the PS TV because again, PS TV allowed you to play
Yeah,
some
yeah,
Vita
yeah.
games. Freedom Wars was actually one supported because again, it was late in the generation, so it was actually supported. So I got to play that on the big screen. It's freaking awesome, bro. It was awesome. Did you ever play Soul Sacrifice?
That one, yes, yeah. Mhm.
Yes, that's in line with again Monster Hunter, God Eater, Soul Sacrifice.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people now that Freedom Wars has been announced go bring back Soul Sacrifice. Soul Sacrifice is like 3 or 4, maybe even more than that. Maybe they're on 5 or 6. Soul Sacrifice
And
was another great freaking series.
I
Too.
gotta be honest, like my memory is such shit too that I just don't remember some of the games that I
Yeah.
bought and played and owned. Like,
Yep. No, I get it.
I need to look through my. Does a Vita? Everything was just stored to a card. So if you don't have the card in there, then do you still see your library?
Online, you might be able to pull up your library. Yes.
I need to turn it on and see what I
should be able to. I think.
see what I have on there.
I still got some Vita cards too, by the way, that I'm going to sell. I still got some gig cards. So, because those are proprietary memory cards. Fucking so shitty. God damn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they were so expensive. Anyways, so Freedom Wars was the remaster I was talking about. But again, go check it out. It's a freaking awesome game. Per a Guardian article that came out, Mav, real quick for all the Indiana Jones fans out there. You know how much me and Mav have been talking about, and the whole family's been talking about how excited we are for Indiana Jones coming out this year. And the Great Circle, I should say. Indiana Jones, The Great Circle. I came out from the Guardian that people aren't aware, but George Lucas and Spielberg were both heavily involved while making this game. So supposedly they had a lot more hands-on time with Todd, obviously, and the team at Machine Games in actually crafting the story around Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. That's part of the reason why, as we talked about when we saw that big narrative cutscene during the Xbox showcase, we all came away, us Indiana Jones fans, and said, holy shit, this could wind up being the best movie, quote unquote, even though it's a game, but best Indiana Jones representation we've had since the original trilogy. Well, it makes a lot of sense with Lucas and Spielberg being this heavily involved. So, and obviously Todd having appreciation in Machine Games, obviously going back and watching the original trilogies over and over again as they've talked about. But that makes more sense. So that's pretty damn cool too. That was a little news that popped up this week. As well. So,
yeah, I think that also like there was, I don't know what to make of it for sure because this has happened before, I think, but like in the game details, I think on the Xbox store it said 60 FPS. I think that also happened with Redfall, and then that was retroactively like removed or whatever. I remember like it had it even on the box or something like that. So like,
I hope that's not the case, but yeah, it's certainly possible.
But yeah, it could be. According to the store, it might be 60 FPS at launch, which would be finally a great big Xbox game would be touted as that at launch.
Yep. It would be fantastic. Let's hope. There were some articles, I guess, going around that was giving the idea or the perception that once you started Shattered Space DLC for Starfield, that you were locked to that planet and you couldn't do anything else. Emil Pegalirulo came out and clarified that no, you can go do whatever you want to do. Yes, that DLC all takes place on one planet, but you are free to leave the planet and go do your other missions or go explore or go back to regular Starfield shit. You're not stuck there.
I don't know who took that way, like from their deep dive. Like the deep dive just like says it's fully handcrafted. Like you can, the story all takes place there. So it doesn't mean they never said like you're stuck here. It was
an Insider Gaming headline.
Jeez.
That stated that basically that you were locked. But that's not what if you read the article, again, it was the headline because it's the clickbait that made it perceived that way. If you did not read the article, that yes, you were locked into that one planet. But what they meant was that the DLC takes place on one planet. And if you read the article, they do explain it and they do say that you can leave.
I got it.
You can do whatever. So
can I just like say, please, to games media and anybody running
Not gonna stop.
a fucking journalistic website or anything to do with gaming, please stop having crazy misinformation, misleading headlines for the sake of attention, because nobody reads your fucking articles.
Okay.
They just read your headline and share it.
Can I say, please, society, go back to fucking reading the articles like you're supposed to, instead of this whole generational thing? I'm not reading all that.
Well,
Thanks. Sorry about no.
I agree.
Bullshit.
I agree.
Read.
But these fuckers use fake information for the fucking headlines. That's like
they twist the words. Yes, I understand.
But they pretend to be better than the YouTube clickbait shit.
I agree with you.
They pretend to be fucking better than YouTube grifters and all this shit. But then they have some fake ass fucking headline that makes no fucking sense to draw people to try and read their article, which is usually like a couple paragraphs of useless information that everybody already fucking knows.
Right? This is where the responsibility is.
The only reason they get any attention to their fucking shitty articles that have no fucking have no useful journalistic takes or information is because they spread bullshit on the headlines.
Listen, Psychonauts posted an April Fool's article in our fucking DM from a year ago, bro, in which Nvidia bought Xbox brand and legit said, why isn't anybody talking about this? Is this real? When you actually look at the article and the dude writes in there that it's fucking April Fool's.
I know. It's like, what is
this
happening?
Is why I say the responsibility.
I know. These headlines have gotten like so bad.
I know, but it's because people don't read anymore.
And they share
get away with it. And they share it out and they get talked about like it's fact without even knowing the body of the content of the body or the content of the actual article. That is our fault as readers. That is our job to go read. So again, yes, I do agree with you, Matt. Obviously, you know how many times I've gone after them for the clickbait bullshit, right? It's just we have to start reading, and so that shit doesn't work anymore. So period, point blank.
Oh,
anyways,
100%.
that's what they want.
Yeah, well,
that's what they want anyways. Either way, they win. So either way, they get it, right? So if people spread that shit around, then they get the attention from it. If people go in and read it, that's exactly what they wanted you to do. So either way, they get it. But yeah, anyways. Oh man.
Thatch has a request real quick.
Yeah.
Choo choo, motherfuckers. Okay. Sorry. He wanted us to do choo choo.
He wanted, but we don't have that.
Choo choo. Okay, there we go. The video is not playing for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway.
Yeah, Psycho, you missed the most important part. Sorry, brother. I got to call you out, but it was pretty ridiculous that you asked Nvidia buying the Xbox brand. Why is nobody talking about this? It's true. Because it's not fucking true. And obviously, that should be your first red flag.
I don't even know how that article showed up for him in the first place on his timeline. Like, how does an April Fool's joke from 2023 show up on his timeline and him be like, I read this is like actually crazy. How does this even happen? Like, why is nobody talking about this? And you're like, I'm worried about you, bro.
Even better, 3-bit Googled it, and there was articles talking about the April Fool's article.
Right.
There was that in the search. It said April Fool's article suggests Nvidia bought Xbox brand. Oh my god, bro. Love you, Psycho, but I'm worried.
Oh man.
Oh my god. Anyways,
I'm not even gonna say what he said last week.
Who? Psycho?
Yeah.
Oh.
In the DMs.
Oh yeah.
No, that's insider information. That's
that's really big time insider information.
Yeah.
Anyways, Jesus. Map. The one thing I did want to get to real quick here, before I gotta get us out of here. Battlefield. We got news in Bella interview, Mav. They revealed the first concept art, right? And so ahead of Investors Day on September 17th, EA revealed fresh details. This is from IGN, by the way. Again, they still get access, so I still use them for things. I still look at their videos. So anyways, this is by Cat Bailey. EA revealed fresh details on its untitled Battlefield game alongside its first official concept art, which IGN can exclusively reveal for the first time. IGN can also confirm that Battlefield will be returning to a modern setting after stints in World War I, World War II, and the near future. While EA is cagey about specifics when it comes to concept art, including declining to name the city where it's set, though it looks a lot like Italy, France, or somewhere else in Europe, it does include details that would stand out. Longtime fans of the series, among other things, it appears to suggest that ship-to-ship and helicopter combat will be a part of the new game, and that it will feature natural disasters like wildfires. Its grayish color scheme is evocative of Battlefield 4, which remains one of the most popular games in the series despite being released a decade ago. So Battlefield goes back to the basics. All of it points to back to the basics approach for the next Battlefield. Indeed, head of Respawn Group, GM for EA Studios organization, Vince Zampella, and Zampella we do trust. No, IGN did not say that. I put that in there. Is quick to shout out Battlefield 3 and 4. This was sad to me that he did not shout out Bad Company in any of this, Mav. I was like, really? Okay. Anyways, but he did shout out Battlefield 3 and 4 in the course of sitting down with IGN to talk about those new reveals. On the decision to return to the modern era, Zampella says, I mean, if you look back to the peak or the pinnacle of Battlefield, it's that Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 era. Again, okay, it's fine, but Bad Company 2 for sure was in there. Where everything was modern. And I think that we have to get back to the core of what Battlefield is and do that amazingly well. And then we'll see where it goes from there. But I think for me, it's that peak of Battlefield-ness in that Battlefield 3 and 4 days. So I think it's nostalgic for players, for me, for the teams even. Those are kind of the heyday. Also, I would say 1942. Okay. The return to modern setting represents, it disappoints me a little bit that he doesn't even shout out Bad Company, because 100%. There's a large portion of the fan base, yes, that would say 3 or 4 or even 1, but like there's a large portion on the other side would say Bad Company is peak as well. So
Bad Company had the best campaigns too,
bro.
100%.
And I think that's probably why he stays away from it, because they're not doing that type of campaign again, maybe. But even some of those maps in the multiplayer were some of the best maps.
Oh
ever.
yeah,
anyway.
The destruction was the best on those games.
Yes. A return to the modern setting represents a course correction for the series after Battlefield 2042, which eventually found its footing, but was otherwise widely panned for features like Specialists, characters that made it seem as if Battlefield was trying to be a hero shooter. Its ambitious 128-player maps also proved unpopular with fans who preferred the more focused experience. Battlefield 2042 eventually went back to supporting 64-player maps, and the next Battlefield plans to stick to that approach. Pretty crazy too, Mav. I read a bunch of the comments, and I even saw comments in the community here. There are a lot of people who don't know they got rid of the Specialists. There are a lot of people who don't understand they've gone back to 64-player maps, that they took out the 128. There are a lot of people that have not, ex-Battlefield fans who have not gotten the word that they've changed 2042, and that if you're a Battlefield fan, you might want to check it out. Again, we had fun from the beginning and through all the changes, but now, like, bro, it's crazy good how much
I kind of want to reinstall it and dive back in.
So do I. I've thought about it so many times, bro.
Yeah.
We might have to do it at some point. Quote, yeah, the 128 player did it make it more fun? Like, doing the number for the sake of a number doesn't make any sense. We're testing everything around what's the most fun. So like you said, the maps, once they get to a certain scale, become different. It's a different play space, and I think that you have to design around that. So we are designing something that is more akin to previous Battlefields, Zampella said. I'd rather have some nice, dense, really nice, well-designed play spaces. Some of them are really good. I can't wait for you to see some of them. Specialists are also out this time around. Quote, so I wasn't there for 2042. I don't know what the rationale was, but for me, it's like the team tried something new. You have to apply that effort. Not everybody liked it, but you got to try things. It didn't work. It didn't fit. Specialists will not be coming back. So classes are kind of at the core of Battlefield, and we're going back to that. Yes. Zampella says, he's careful to stress that Battlefield 2042 wasn't a failure of a game, despite it not doing as well as hoped. He knows the development team really spent a lot of time learning how to adapt it and getting things back. Still, he says EA doesn't want a repeat of the experience they had with 2042, obviously. We want it to be good out the gate, quote, end quote. It adds up to what one might call a classic Battlefield, but big enough that it merits the efforts of 4 separate studios: DICE, Motive, Ripple Effect, and Criterion. Ridgeline Games was briefly a part of the development before being shuttered in founder Marcus Leto's departure. That was pretty bad news too. I'm still disappointed about that one a little bit. But EA CEO Andrew Wilson claims it's one of the most ambitious projects in EA's history. Nevertheless, Zampella remains vague on what it actually entails. Quote, yeah, it's definitely betting bigger on Battlefield. It's going in and expanding what Battlefield is. We have to have the core. The core Battlefield players know what they want. They've been with us forever. They've been amazing supporters. We need to earn their trust back and get them back on our side. That's massive. Again, Zampella trust. And then it's expanding out and getting more players into the universe and seeing what we can do. So when you want a different experience, you don't have to leave Battlefield. You can experience more things within the Battlefield universe. So we're expanding the offerings that we're giving. That's fine to me. If you're going to go that Call of Duty way and you're going to have your own Warzone or whatever, which it sounds like they are, they're going to have a Battle Royale. That's fine. As long as, like he said, you guys are earning the core experience back. I'm cool with that. Go do your thing. But give us core Battlefield players that real Battlefield. In the meantime, Blizzard is planning on release. Let's see, the Roadhead. Activision Blizzard is planning to release Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Battlefield's traditional competitor. Whereas Battlefield has stumbled, Call of Duty has largely continued to thrive. It begs the question: will Battlefield ever outsell Call of Duty? Quote: if you look at the best Battlefields, have outsold some Call of Duties and the other way around, back and forth. So I think it absolutely can. Zampella says, note, while sales data isn't complete, the publicly available data for even weaker releases like Infinite Warfare has typically favored Call of Duty. Quote, I mean, is that what we're going for? I mean, not directly, but always. We're not looking to take down Call of Duty. We're making something that's different, and we're making something that's us. But yeah, it definitely has the possibility. On the subject of pushing transmedia space, where franchises like The Last of Us and Fallout have thrived, Zampella demurs. Quote, there are definitely opportunities there. We've had some discussion, but it's not our core business. To me, that stuff, when it works, it's super cool. Like Arcane was fucking great. But there's other ones that haven't worked as well, and I won't name those. Halo. But you know what they are, he says. It's a marketing opportunity of getting your franchise out there, and it's not the core to what we're doing right now. So we are game first. That has to work. And if the right opportunity comes, absolutely we'll look at it. And do we take meetings all the time? Sure. But it's not the core business, so it's a balance. I would love to see it. Right now, we're not looking at anything like that for Battlefield. So, and then he goes on to talk about we're going to have a program we're going to announce next year around getting the more community in, because it's kind of the core of what we have to do, getting the community back on our side, get that trust. So I think we're in a really good place. Is it challenging? Of course, but it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't. So chances are there's going to be a huge Battlefield beta, or they're going to have, what they used to call it? They used to call it Battlefield something, Mav. I can't remember where they got the community involved. It was basically a beta. Everybody got to join in and test. God damn, I can't remember what that was. They had a whole experience around it. So anyways, that's pretty much the extent of what I wanted to get into. But Mav, Zampella, we've talked about Battlefield. You and I are both huge Battlefield fans, bro. We had fun with 2042 from the beginning. We obviously acknowledged all of its problems. We acknowledged that it wasn't the Battlefield of old, that it felt different, that the Levolution totally changed and was not the same. And that, we found that because they had the classic maps in there, and that was cool.
Yeah.
But we still had fun. And as they did go back, they did a lot of work in revamping it and fixing it in a lot of different ways. And again, the experience changed, but we just continued to have more and more fun as they went through all these changes and the seasons went by. We've jumped back in at multiple points and said, yo, this is really good now. What do you think about Zampella here? Is this more encouraging news to you, what he had to say here? Is there anything more you need to hear? Again, I expressed my disappointment with not hearing anything about Bad Company, but is what it is. Overall, what did you think about this interview and where he's taking the franchise as we know it?
Yeah, I think ultimately Battlefield is going to be something that stays around and is going to kind of have a resurgence somewhat. I don't know what to make of the next Battlefield game because I still haven't seen anything from it. All we have is these words. You know what I mean? He's saying the right things. Like you, I kind of would be like more excited if they talked more and using Bad Company as examples. But Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 were both great. Even though they weren't either of those weren't my favorite. My favorites were the two Bad Company games.
Yep.
They were up there with my favorites, right? So, if they are using that as kind of the core template of what they're going to do going forward, I think it's a good thing. Going back to modern times is a good thing, right? I think,
Yes.
and kind of just focusing on the overall focal point. What I didn't like was them talking about we have multiple new experiences we're working on. Like whenever they use those words, like we have this different experience and we have this different experience. Just make a fucking great multiplayer game, right? That has as Battlefield, right? I don't need any new experiences, right? I just want you to make a fucking awesome Battlefield game. And I think a lot of people want you to also make a good campaign to go along with it, right? So if you have two kind of cores of your fan base there kind of come together, I personally don't need a campaign. If you do, I want it to be more in the vein of like the Bad Company games than like we got in the other Battlefields, right?
Yeah.
That was more fun, right? More, it kind of had a great that camaraderie and laughter and just badassness, right? On your journey, I would stick more to that kind. I didn't really enjoy any of the other Battlefield campaigns. I know that some people are fans of some of them, or at least saw the value in playing through them, right? But for me, I just make a great full suited multiplayer mode, and then have a campaign for the people that want that also. And then you have something that I think that they have not mentioned with this, which is something that I had hoped would take off with 2042. But it seems like it's going to be just a forgotten thing. It's Battlefield Portal, right?
That's the mode where we got to play the classic maps.
Yeah,
that really was awesome.
Like it's gonna be, they could have kept evolving it and adding stuff and evolving it and could have turned into a big thing. Community didn't really ever embrace it too much from Battlefield, and it's going to kind of go by the wayside. It seems like, which is it's just a travesty to me because I saw so much potential with that, man. Turning it into something where we can kind of have this like nostalgia fest all the time with our classic favorite maps and modes and guns and stuff from Battlefield. It was just awesome. We had fun playing with it on day one, like with Portal, but ultimately, just like I said, focus on great maps, right?
Yep.
Great weapons, good gunplay, come out fully featured at launch, right?
Yep. Good shape.
Yep, in good shape. That's going to be the most important thing. Have good servers at launch, right? And then, you know what? Like, support the game like you have been for all your other Battlefields, like even 2042. Keep supporting it, and I think you'll be fine. But just get the launch right this time. That's why none of these words matter to me too much, because like they've said all this kind of shit before with tons of other games, and then they still launch a broken game. It's like
they said it with 2042. Yeah.
Like they've done this numerous times where they come out and they say all the right things and they launch something that's like, well, we thought it was going to be fine, and it's like, is what it is. I personally,
Zampella.
Yeah, I personally, the stuff that Battlefield 2042 is missing at launch for me didn't really affect me too much. I was fine. I had fun with it. The hit detection was off. They had that fixed within like a week. The servers were working. I know a lot of people didn't like the specializations and stuff. I didn't really care too much about that. I just was having fun playing the game, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's still a good game. But yeah, if they could make the real like next recapture the magic of some of the older ones, would be amazing. So we'll see.
I'll add a little bit more info too, because Tom Henderson did put out an article with his information too on it. Some inside information from Insider Gaming. Of course, shout out to Tom. He said, let's see here. I'm not going to read everything here, but he said, so what's new? Following our original port and the recent confirmation of those details, we wanted to dive into some nitty gritty details that players might want to hear. To start, let's focus on the core of the game. Insider Gaming understands that the game will take place somewhere between 2027 and 2030. So near future, definitely modern day. With the campaign focused on a massive private military group going up against NATO. The game will be set in various locations worldwide, including Gibraltar, which they confirm is the concept art. Again, they, EA and Zempel wouldn't say what city it was, but the Insider Gaming is saying that was Gibraltar, and the USA, which is also believed to be the setting for the Battle Royale experience in a tropical location. He goes on to say, but let's cut to the chase and talk multiplayer. The aim is currently for 45 different weapons on launch, double that of what 2042 core multiplayer experience launched with. In addition, the goal is for around 10 multiplayer maps, putting it in line with the likes of Battlefield 1, 3, and 4. The game will also see significant overhaul to its destruction, and while I couldn't verify if this means the return of Levolution, over half a dozen sources mentioned that the game would have caliber-based destruction akin to Rainbow Six Siege, with different calibers causing different amounts of destruction. It is also understood that the game will see some changes to movement, with one example given by multiple sources, the ability to pick up and move down players. While this has almost certainly been incorporated for the Battle Royale experience, it has been implied that this is all of the changes and is part of the team's Battlefield Moments initiative to bring back the moments that made Battlefield. Battlefield. I've also been told the team is currently weighing up the name of the game. Over the past year or so, the team has been carrying out mass surveys, some of the biggest I've heard about, with participants voting on which game name they prefer, Battlefield or Battlefield 6. So fingers crossed, we might not have to wait long until it's officially announced. Finally, regarding large-scale community-driven testing, this is what it was called. Okay, now I remember. I am very much inclined to believe that this is more than just an open or closed beta, but rather a return of Battlefield CTE. That's what it was, which really helped the development of Battlefield 1 and 4. So some good information from Tom there too, by the way, Mav. Really cool stuff in there. As far as the destruction potentially being overhauled again, and I love the idea that different size caliber weapons are going to do different amounts of damage to where we're at, which is freaking awesome. The amount of weapons, 45 at launch, and up to 10 maps. This all sounds really, really good to me. I'm excited, bro. I'm excited. Like I said, in Zampella, I trust. I do. And I think that he's going to get this back on track. And again, it doesn't have to be the greatest Battlefield ever, but if it lines up anywhere in between the Bad Companies 3 and 4, but comes out with better performance out the gate than 4, especially because 4 was broken. Even 3 had its issues, but 4 was that was the turnaround of a century, because people don't remember how bad 4 servers were. Like, they were awful. Like, it almost downed the entire game. But at that point, they hadn't lost their fan base like they have now. So people came back, and all of a sudden, everybody forgot how bad it was. And Battlefield 4 is some people's favorites. Still a ton of people playing Battlefield 4 right now. But yeah, man, everything points upwards for Battlefield. So I can't wait for the announcement, because they are scheduled. This is supposed to come next year. So
the one thing that's funny is, like they say, like trying to capture the Battlefield moments, like, which is something that, like, we talk about. They say the same stuff all the time. That was their whole marketing campaign for Battlefield 2042 was like the Battlefield moments. They had the whole trailer with like the jet and the person. Like,
there has been some. There has been some really cool ones, but they just thought with 128 players, right, that there would be more of those. And what happened was there wasn't. It diluted everything. But anyways, yes.
No, it's just funny. Like, you see them say the same things. I just want to, just deliver on it, and everybody will be happy. I think the core thing is, the most important thing is actual information on, like, destruction. Because this is another thing they always say, oh, destruction is back, but it's not. It just it never shows up like it used to. The best it ever was back in, like, Bad Company games, which was like on the fucking 360 and PS3, right? So if you do the destruction the best back then, how come you can't do it now, right? So that's the frustrating things that I have sometimes. Like, they kind of switched to the whole, and even in Battlefield 4 and stuff, they switched to the whole, like, big game-changing event in the middle of the match, right? Where you have the map get altered from the set piece, which is, like, fine, and I know a lot of people look forward to that and like that stuff, but that doesn't replace actually just being able to fucking destroy buildings and roll through buildings and have buildings fall apart from your guns or
hide
tanks
and falling apart buildings,
yeah, and all that
snipe
shit.
out
Like,
of them, and
and that still happens some with some of the
stuff.
other battlefields and stuff, but not to the
Yeah.
extent that it did back then. I mean, it was used as like the primary gameplay element and stuff. You know, like the maps would just look completely fucking different by the end of it because of the gameplay that took place, right?
Yep.
Loved that. C4, you know, it's like you got a sniper fucking, you know, is in the building. You fucking throw C4 on that fucking wall, explode it out, take away his cover, take him out. Like, just stuff like that was amazing, dude.
Yep. Sending in mortar rounds as a sniper.
Yeah.
Oh, taking down buildings. Oh my God, it was so much fun. Oh, but maybe we'll get it back, Mav. Maybe we'll get it back.
Maybe somebody has it patented now and they can't do it.
Maybe. Levolution should have been patented because that was the main the main draw of the DICE engine when it first came out too, right? So
and they're gonna have competition now because that other game that's like a Battlefield clone, pretty much. The Delta Force.
Delta Force, the new Delta Force coming back. Yeah, because people are saying that feels like old school Battlefield.
Yeah.
I can't wait to play that once I get controllers.
And that's coming out next year on consoles. Yeah. So and Bob was saying like it is Battlefield. Right.
Right. I can't wait to feel if that's the case.
Yeah, dude. And so they'll have competition, man. Like, people are gonna play whatever's fun, you know.
Yep, they are. They are. But picking up and carrying people though, as the medic, this sounds fantastic already. If they're gonna allow me to do that. Oh my God, rush it in. People hate being medic. I love being medic, bro. I'll be there. I'll try to carry you out, Mav.
And then Pong back.
Pull out, Mav.
Something bit me.
Oh shit. All right, let's get everybody out of here. I gotta get going. I'm a half hour late, so I gotta get out of here. But man, what a great show. Long conversation, even longer than I thought it was gonna be on our main topic. We really took that deep. We deep dove the whole PlayStation thing, but the remakes, man. I love you getting into what the generations actually looked like. Us getting into all that was fucking awesome. So what a great Thursday night, man. Glad to be here with everybody. Chat, you guys were freaking incredible as always. Again, everybody coming out and supporting us each and every week and all of our shows, man. Nothing but thanks and love and respect to each and every single one of you. You guys are amazing. So thank you all for being here for another episode of PM in the PM. In fact, this was episode 131 of Pong and Mav in the PM. Thank you for being here tonight. Mav, what do you got coming up? We got some Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night, and then what else?
Yeah, Xbox Ultimate 201 tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. I'll maybe do some game streams, or we'll see what happens this weekend. Maybe do a Mavcast or so. But yeah, looking forward to streaming some stuff. And then back FSP Mondays, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Then here again Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, as far as that goes, man, it's just been a lot of great games to play. We've got a lot to look forward to in the next week.
Yep. We do.
Week and a half, especially.
We have a lot of strategy talk coming your way.
Strategy games, and then by the end of this month, you have Shattered Space. And
and then we got Call of Duty into next month already. Jesus, it's gonna be nuts. Games and more games, Mav. That's what it's about. That's what it's about, brother.
State of Play coming for remasters.
State of Play, awesome. We're gonna have a lot to talk about last week. Next week is gonna be fun. We'll have more to talk about. We'll see what they announce. If we seriously get a Days Gone remaster, oh my God.
Hey.
I can't believe it. Did they shit on that game after they told Ben they couldn't work on it?
Fucking Christ. Wasn't there was also like a Days Gone like multiplayer thing you're talking about or something? Was that in the other information of the roadmaps? Wasn't there like something?
Ben is working on something.
From the multiplayer thing. Okay,
no. Can you imagine if we make a
Days Gone multiplayer
this? Oh my God. Oh man. Listen, y'all. You know how to find me. Pongsoul on X, formerly known as Twitter. Pongsoul on the Xbox. Pongsoul on Steam. Pongsoul on GOG, Epic, everywhere. Follow me. I'll follow you back. Other than that, you know, if I can make it tomorrow night, not quite sure tomorrow night, but we are going to try. If I can make Xbox Ultimate, I will be there. Obviously, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. The family gets together right here on the Fun Speculation Network. And no matter how many of us there are, we have lots of laughs, but we have lots of good talk on Xbox Ultimate every Friday night. So be here for that. And then, of course, Saturday mornings, it is Living Split Screen. We are going to have what is considered a very short show for me and Steel, which would be about a normal show, or maybe a little bit longer than a normal show for most people. But because I do have some things I need to deal with on Saturday afternoon. But Living Split Screen will go live this week. We were an hour late last week, but this week we should be back to normal, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Me, my brother from another Steel Rain, are going to get down to business. We're going to talk all of this craziness. You know how him and I do it, though. Who knows? We might take the entire time and just talk games until I got to go. So, but be there for Living Split Screen. We're going to have a great time on Saturday morning for about 2.5 hours or so. And then otherwise, Saturday night will be the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel, Fuzzy Belvedere, myself, and this week we had Mav last week. Well, why not have the other brother show up this week? So Steel, because it's his off week for work, so he's good to show up this week. He was going to jump in last week, but he had to work. So he will be here this Saturday night on the Shop Podcast. Join us there, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. The best way to end your Saturday night. Have us on in the background. Nice, easy, chill conversation. 2 hours, we in and out. Let's do it. The Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel. And then, of course, next week it starts all over again. Double Barrel Games channel. Boomstick is the man. 5 days a week, but all good things green happen on Tuesdays for the Xbox Factor Podcast, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Join that crew there. And then, of course, I'll be back here to start my week with this dude right here, one of my favorite people in the entire world, on PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. And we should have a lot to get into next week, Mav, including new games that we've both been playing. And yes, hopefully that state of play happens and we can talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. Listen, y'all, love you all. It's the golden age of gaming. Please have a great Friday. Have a great start to your weekend wherever you are in the world. Again, I hope the week's been good and I hope it continues on. But please, golden age is here, so get out there, play what you love what you play, and I'm going to talk to you all real soon. Mav, get us out of here, brother.
Later, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Oh.